Chapter 1137. If Wang Huazhong had not mentioned the Grand Essence Mountain, only a few people would have thought of it. Now that Wang Huazhong mentioned the Grand Simplicity Mountain, everyone remembered the Grand Simplicity Mountain's surpassing domain. While some of the sect masters were secretly cursing Wang Huazhong for being shameless, they were also secretly blaming themselves for not thinking of this matter earlier. This was a sentence that would allow one to gain Ning Cheng's friendship without paying anything in return. I support sect leader Wang's decision. I also support. It didn't matter if they fell behind, but now that they supported Ning Cheng, they must not fall behind again. If they fell behind again, they feared that they would not be able to gain Ning Cheng's friendship, but would instead cause Ning Cheng to feel some knots in his heart. In any case, the Grand Essence Mountain did not belong to any sect. Moreover, the cultivation of the Grand Essence Mountain's surpassing boundary was only limited to those below the Dao sculpting realm. Even if a Dao confirming cultivator entered the Grand Essence Mountain's surpassing boundary to cultivate, the effect would still be the same. In a place like the Grand Essence Mountain, apart from Dao Lord Ning Cheng, no one could move their sect there. Since he knew he couldn't get it, he might as well generously give it away. Ning Cheng was not only a Dao Lord of the Grand Essence Dao Court, but he also single-handedly guided the arrangement of the Grand Essence Realm's protective Grand Array. Not to mention the innate treasure Mountain River Dipper, just the fact that Ning Cheng was willing to take out the Seven Bridges Realm Book and Gung Soil made it so that no one would feel jealous of Ning Cheng living in the uninhabited Grand Essence Mountain. Hearing that so many people agreed to let him live in the Grand Essence Mountain, Ning Cheng felt happy in his heart. To be honest, after the Dao Court's meeting ended, he would most likely have to find a place to stay in the Grand Essence Realm. Otherwise, where would the people of stately River Star live after moving here? Besides Lufei and Rulin, it was impossible for everyone to enter his mysterious yellow bead, right? Now that Wang Huazhong proposed to give him the Grand Essence Mountain, it really was a pleasant surprise. Ning Cheng had never been to the Grand Simplicity Mountain, but he had heard about it too many times. A radius of hundreds of thousands of miles might not be much in terms of area, but it could only be considered ordinary in the Grand Essence realm. However, the Grand Essence Mountain's spirit chi, topographical location, and the beautiful scenery made it an excellent choice for the sect. Not to mention that Ning City was a top-notch array formation master. Even if an ordinary sect went to the Grand Essence Mountain, they could easily turn it into the best location for their sect. Many thanks, fellow Taoists. If I continue to decline, it would be unreasonable of me. From today onwards, the Grand Essence Mountain will be my private residence. Ning Cheng sincerely thanked him. He had been putting in so much effort, and now he finally had a little bit of return. Moreover, this return was something that Ning Cheng desperately needed. The establishment of the Taisu Dao Court was perfect. It could be said that 90% of the sect leaders who participated in the establishment of the Taisu Dao Court returned with satisfaction. Many sects began to set up branches in the Heaven Essence Sacred City and set up merchant houses. Heaven Essence Sacred City was originally the premier sacred city in the Grand Essence realm. But now that the Grand Essence Dao Court had established itself in Heaven Essence Sacred City, countless powerhouses flocked to this place to set up their sects' encampments. Heaven Essence Sacred City once again expanded without limit. As for the expansion of the Heaven Essence Sacred City's defensive array formation, Sha Su of Heavenly Array Valley completed it. As for Ning Cheng, he had already left for the Grand Essence Mountains. The Pill Union was located in the Heaven Essence Sacred City, but Ning Cheng didn't bring anyone from the Pill Union with him. He decided to head to the Heaven Essence Mountains alone. He naturally wouldn't be like the Dao Lords of the Grand Change World Dao Court, who had to hold a Dao Court assembly every few days. As a Dao Lord, he would only summon the sect masters of the major sects to discuss important matters in the Grand Essence realm. Usually, he only had the title of Dao Lord. What puzzled Ning Cheng was that he hadn't received any news from Sword Tri-Mountain. It stood to reason that he had led the array formation masters of the Grand Essence realm to complete the arrangement of the Grand Essence realm's boundary-protecting Grand Array and become the new Dao Lord of the Grand Essence Dao Court. Sword Tri-Mountain should have received the news a long time ago. However, Ning Cheng still resisted the urge to use the power of the Dao Court to find Sword Tri-Mountain. If Sword Tri-Mountain had his own matters, it wouldn't be good for him to use the Dao court to find him. Moreover, although he was a Dao lord, there weren't many people in the Grand Essence realm who truly supported him wholeheartedly. Most of the sects were forced by the situation, while some of them felt that Ning Cheng had truly contributed a lot to the Grand Essence realm. If he thought that the Grand Essence Dao court belonged to him and used the Dao court to do things for him from the beginning, it would be akin to asking for trouble. This place is really beautiful. Yan Ji stood next to Ning Cheng and looked at the Grand Essence Mountains shrouded in immortal mist in front of her. Yan Ji was right. This place was indeed beautiful. Countless mountain peaks surrounded a giant peak in the distance, with several clear rivers crisscrossing it. Even the birds and beasts that could fly were rare breeds. At a glance, one could tell that this place had been arranged by a sect in ancient times. As for why this sect was hidden in the vast river of history, it was impossible to find out. After all, when the Grand Essence Mountain was discovered, the major sects of the Grand Essence realm had already existed. I will establish the mysterious yellow sect here. In the future, this place will be the foundation of my mysterious yellow sect. Ning Cheng took Yan Ji and flew over countless cloud-shrouded peaks before landing on the main peak. Rays of multicolored light shone down, making this place look even more tranquil and beautiful. If the Grand Essence Realm's heaven and earth laws were restored, then the Grand Essence Mountain would indeed be the best place to establish a sect. I'll help you, Yan Ji immediately said. Ning Cheng also didn't intend to ask outsiders to establish the mysterious yellow sect. The mysterious yellow sect was his final territory. The Dao monarchs of the Grand Essence realm were illusory, while the mysterious yellow sect truly existed. Yan Ji was a Dao sculpting holy emperor, and her combat prowess was much stronger than ordinary holy emperors. Now, just helping Ning Cheng arrange the sect wouldn't pose any difficulty. Yan Ji began to establish the sect in the Grand Essence Mountain according to Ning Cheng's plan in the Jade Strip. Ning Cheng, on the other hand, arranged the Grand Essence Mountain's sect protecting Grand Array. Ning Cheng used Man Suotian's Golden Dragon Whip and God-Slaying Nail to suppress the sect's sect protecting Grand Array. Moreover, he also used another good weapon, the Blade Mountain weapon, to suppress the sect protecting Grand Array. Ning Cheng was the Array Formation Grandmaster who led the arrangement of the Grand Essence Realm's boundary protecting Grand Array. Therefore, it didn't take much effort for him to arrange the Grand Essence Mountain's boundary protecting Grand Array. If the boundary protecting Grand Array was equivalent to the union of Earth's 4 oceans, then the sect protecting Grand Array he arranged now wasn't even 1/100th the size of a sesame seed. Despite this, Ning Cheng still managed to perfect it. It took him a full 6 months to complete the sect protecting Grand Essence Mountain's sect protecting Grand Array. At this time, Yan Ji's sect construction in the main hall of the Grand Essence Mountain also finished. Ning Cheng and Yan Ji stood at the peak of the Grand Essence Mountain, in front of the mysterious yellow sect's new sect. While enjoying the beautiful scenery around the Grand Essence Mountain, a faint sense of satisfaction rose in their hearts. After being taken away by the mysterious yellow bead from Earth, it wasn't until today that he truly felt a sense of security. If he waited until he reached Dao confirming Dao fusion, maybe even without the boundary protecting Grand Array, he wouldn't have to fear Feng Xian. When Big Sister Luofei and Little Sister Rulin come, this place will become lively. Yan Ji leaned against Ning Cheng and spoke with a satisfied expression. Ning Cheng showed a slight smile. After things here are over, I plan to go to the 9 Revolutions Sacred Dao Pond. Whether Qianghua is there or not, I have to go and ask. After the 9 Revolutions Sacred Dao Pond, we will immediately return to Jiangzhou Star. In the past, he didn't have the qualifications to ask about the 9 Revolutions Sacred Dao Pond's Qianghua. But now that he had become a Dao monarch, he also had Shuriqing's support. He believed that the women from the 9 Revolutions Sacred Dao Pond wouldn't dare to point fingers at him or hide anything from him. Shuriqing didn't care about the sex affairs. Therefore, if he went there, the 9 Revolutions Sacred Dao Pond would definitely give him a positive answer. Yan Ji nodded but didn't speak. Ning Cheng frowned slightly and muttered to himself, "She didn't detoxify it? How did he become like this? What was going on? Why did she come here? Yenji quickly asked, "What's wrong?" "Let's go and see." After saying that, Ningcheng pulled Yenji and stepped out of the Grand Essence Mountain's Grand Array and landed outside the Grand Array. "Lu Fanglan, how did you become like this? Don't tell me your tattoo bone poison hasn't been detoxified yet?" Ningcheng stared at the skinny woman in front of him. If Ningcheng hadn't remembered Lu Fanglin's aura, he would never have recognized the woman in front of him as Lu Fanglin. Lu Fanglin no longer looked as beautiful as before. Instead, her face was ashen, her hair was yellow and sparse, and her jawbone protruded from her face. At this moment, how could Lu Fanglin still look tempting? It wasn't wrong to say that she was a standing skeleton. Yenji only recognized Lu Fanglin when she heard Ningcheng's words, and she felt even more surprised. Speaking of which, Lu Fanglin was the reason why Ningcheng could find the dim star gold hidden leaf and refine the true extreme spiritual restoration pill. Lu Fanglin had also shown kindness to Yenji. "Your brother Ning, no, Dao Monarch." Lu Fanglin bowed in fear. Ningcheng raised his hand and threw out several medicinal pills, including a heaven-replenishing vein bone pill, before asking in a deep voice, "Dao friend Fanglin, we've been through thick and thin together. There's no need for this. Hurry up and tell me, what the hell is going on?" Lu Fanglin and he had gone through thick and thin together. Now that she had fallen into such a state, and even took the initiative to come to the Grand Essence Mountain, he naturally had to help. The vein bone poison was cured, but then it relapsed. "I didn't listen to you, I didn't let you, Lu Fanglin didn't continue, but Ningcheng already understood what she meant. He had already judged that Lu Fanglin had a problem with her body and wanted to check it out for her. It was just that Lu Fanglin was too shy to let Ningcheng do it. Ningcheng didn't expect to see Lu Fanglin like this when they met again. "Is it the problem with the gray steel?" Ningcheng asked in a deep voice. The reason why he saw that Lu Fanglin had a problem was because he suspected the steel. When the gray steel sucked her blood, Ningcheng felt that something was wrong. But when he reminded Lu Fanglin still cut her wrist and sent her blood to the gray steel. At that time, it was also because the steel sucked Lu Fanglin's blood that she had the opportunity to take Ningcheng inside. In other words, Ningcheng owed Lu Fanglin a favor. After Lu Fanglin took the 2 medicinal pills from Ningcheng, the grayish-white color on her face gradually improved. Her skinny appearance also slowly recovered, and she could finally see a trace of her original outline. She calmed herself down and nodded. Yes, it was caused by the gray steel. Chapter 1138. Don't worry, speak slowly. Ningcheng comforted her. Thinking about the peerless Lu Fanglin turning into such a state, he found it hard to believe. After Lu Fanglin took Ningcheng's Essence Chi pill and detoxification pill, and after seeing Ningcheng again, she felt a lot better. Even her spirit was a lot more stable than before. "After you gave me 2 heaven-replenishing mark bone pills, I used 1 pill to detoxify my poison. Together with another junior apprentice sister, the 2 of us lurked for a few months and finally poisoned my enemy with the pattern bone poison." "Wait." Ningcheng suddenly interrupted Lu Fanglin. "You said that you poisoned your enemy with the pattern bone poison. Who is your enemy? Is it Pill Association's Cheng Ho Tian?" Lu Fanglin quickly shook her head. "I have a lot of respect for Association Master Cheng, and I also know that he is your friend. How could I poison him? My enemy is called Kai Cheng. My best sister also went with me to take revenge. Her name is Tsong Ting. Her enemy is the same as my enemy, that Kai Cheng." At this point, Lu Fanglin's face turned even paler. "I didn't think that Tsong Ting would recognize a thief as her father and hide with me for a few months. After Kai Cheng was poisoned, she actually attacked me." Ningcheng frowned slightly. "That's not recognizing a thief as her father. She should have some thoughts about you. You must have some treasure on you that attracted her." Lu Fanglin shook her head. "No, after she cut off one of my arms, I escaped. Later, I heard that she and Kai Cheng were together. Later, I heard that Association Master Cheng Ho Tian was poisoned. I felt sorry for Association Master Cheng Ho Tian." Without Lu Fanglin's detailed explanation, Ningcheng completely understood. Lu Fanglin indeed poisoned Kai Cheng. Later, Song Ting plotted against Lu Fanglin and took away Lu Fanglin's ring. Song Ting used the other detoxification pill in Lu Fanglin's ring to detoxify Kai Cheng. Then, the pattern bone poison in Lu Fanglin's ring flowed out, and finally, Cheng Hotian was poisoned. Ning Cheng waved his hand. "This is not your fault. I also detoxified Association Master Cheng's poison. Tell me about what happened after that." Lu Fanglin's complexion recovered a bit and continued, "After I escaped, I found a way to find you. At that time, there was no news of you. At this time, my body was having problems. My blood was inexplicably swept away by the void. The vein bone poison, which had already been cured, appeared in my body again. However, I was unable to die. Every day, there is an inexplicable voice in my soul calling out to me, asking me to worship a vague god." What happened next? Yanji could not help but ask. She was also very worried. Lu Fanglin glanced at Yanji standing beside Ning Cheng and spoke up, "I guess that it should be because of the gray stone steel. Afterwards, I risked my life to rush into the burial shadow blue sand. Even if I die, I do not want to continue suffering like this." "Then how did you come out?" Ning Cheng frowned slightly. He knew that the burial shadow blue sand was a terrifying existence. Even with his strength and trump cards, he had almost died in the blue shadow burial sands. If Lu Fanglin were to enter the burial shadow blue sand with severe injuries, it would truly bode ill for her. I saw Qi Shizingsing in the burial shadow blue sand. He seemed to have gone crazy and was running in a fixed direction. I called out to him, but he didn't answer. But I couldn't catch up with him. I knew that Qi Shizingsing was your best friend, so I thought I should tell you about it. I was very careful and spent several years before I managed to exit the burial shadow blue sand. My body grew weaker and weaker, and my cultivation grew worse and worse. It wasn't until recently that I learned that you had become a Dao Lord and led the Grand Essence Realms Array Dao Grandmaster to complete the arrangement of the Grand Essence Realms Protective Grand Array. As Lu Fanglin spoke until here, her eyes flashed with a glimmer of light. Ning Cheng was a Dao Lord, but he was also her friend. Even if she was useless, she had made a great friend. Ning Cheng's heart tightened. He knew that Qi Shizingsing had gone to the Grand Essence Ruins. But wasn't he looking for the Grand Essence Spirit Thunder? Why did he go to the burial shadow blue sand? When did this happen? Ning Cheng asked with a solemn tone. He knew many people in the Grand Essence realm, and even more people called him friends. But he didn't have many true friends, and Qi Shizingsing was his true friend. Since Qi Shizingsing was in trouble, he had to save him. 16 years ago. Lu Fanglin's words made Ning Cheng's heart sink. 16 years ago, he most likely was still on his way to Jiaoliang Mountain. Besides, Qi Shizingsing had appeared in the burial shadow blue sand 16 years ago, but he didn't seem to be in a good state. Could he really be safe and sound now? I'm going to the burial shadow blue sand now. Ning Cheng quickly made up his mind. Qi Shizingsing was trapped in the burial shadow blue sand, so he had to go there. I'll go with you, Lu Fanglin said immediately. Ning Cheng nodded and agreed to Lu Fanglin's words. Lu Fanglin's blood and soul had already been extracted by the gray stone steel in the burial shadow blue sand. Your cultivation is too weak. Stay in my true spirit world to cultivate. I'll stay with you in the true spirit world. She had to go with Ning Cheng. Although she had reached the Dao confirming realm, she couldn't help much in a place like the burial shadow blue sand. Ning Cheng hadn't yet returned to Heaven Essence Sacred City when he received another shocking news. Feng Xian might have come to the Grand Essence realm. Ning Cheng quickly sped up and arrived at the Grand Essence Dao Court. Several people from the Grand Essence Dao Court were already waiting there. Sect Master Li Feng of the Mysterious Crossing Ancient Clan, Sect Master Dai Fu of the Nine Revolutions Sacred Dao Pond, Cheng Ho Tian, and Pill Association's Primordial Chaos Holy Emperor Bei Caixia were also there. Dao Lord Ning, Feng Xian of the Realmless Palace, really came to my Grand Essence realm. As soon as Ning Cheng returned to the Dao Court, Dai Fu spoke up. Ning Cheng said in a deep voice, "At this time, my Grand Essence Realm's Boundary Protection Grand Array is still intact. Although we don't have many experts, dealing with the realmless palace isn't a big deal. Who was the first to send this news? Dai Fu spoke up again. It was my 9 revolutions sacred Dao Pon's Dao ancestor. Dao ancestor got the news because she left the Grand Essence realm. She sent the news back to my 9 revolutions sacred Dao Pond, and I immediately came to the Dao court. It said that Feng Xian not only came to my Grand Essence realm first, but he also invited friends from all over the world to gather at the periphery of the Grand Essence realm. Although Feng Xian didn't say it explicitly, it seems that he wants to carve up my Grand Essence realm. Ning Qing sneered. Feng Xian wanted to carve up the Grand Essence realm by himself with a motley crew. Feng Xian's ass was whiter than the others. Li Feng sighed. Fortunately, we completed the Boundary Protection Grand Array and established the Grand Essence Dao Court. Otherwise, the consequences would have been unimaginable. Ning Qing also felt some fear in his heart. Fortunately, he had done these things in time. If the Grand Essence realm had remained the same as before, then even if the 9 revolutions sacred Dao Pon got the news, they wouldn't have been able to effectively stop the locusts from rushing into the Grand Essence realm. With those big sects' character of sweeping away the snow in front of their doors, they would never do their best to deal with these foreign cultivators. The Grand Essence realm was already broken to begin with. So what if they snatched it again? Dao ancestor from my 9 revolutions sacred Dao Pon said, Dao Lord Ning did 2 things very well, whether it was the Boundary Protection Grand Array or the establishment of the Dao Court. She also left a message saying that when Feng Xian came to the Grand Essence realm, she would come back to help. Many thanks, Senior Shi. Ning Qing stood up and thanked her. Although the Dao Integration realm was still worlds apart from the Dao Ancestor realm, everyone in the Grand Essence realm called the Dao Ancestor realm. Court Pillar Li, immediately issue a Dao Court crisis order in the name of the Grand Essence Dao Court. The Grand Essence realm is facing an invasion from the outside world. Gather all the fighting powerhouses of the big sects and all the rogue cultivators. After Ning Qing thanked Dai Fu, he issued the first Dao Court crisis order since the establishment of the Grand Essence Dao Court. The Grand Essence Dao Court issued a lot of Dao Court orders. These Dao Court orders contain some rules and regulations, some moral codes that the cultivators of the Grand Essence realm must abide by. Ning Qing authorized the first court pillar Li Feng to issue these Dao Court orders. According to the rules set by the Grand Essence Dao Court, Li Feng had full authority to issue them. However, this was the first time that the Dao Court crisis order had gathered the power of the entire Grand Essence realm. Feng Xian was about to come to the Grand Essence realm. Even if Feng Xian hadn't arrived yet, Ning Qing, as the Dao Lord of the Grand Essence Dao Court, couldn't go to the Blue Shadow Burial Sand at this time. He had to stay, integrate the strength of the Grand Essence realm, and then deal with Feng Xian. Since the establishment of the Grand Essence Dao Court, the atmosphere of the entire Grand Essence realm had changed. The kind of massacres that could be seen everywhere in the past now only happened in secret. Moreover, once an unfair murder happened, one could directly go to the Grand Essence Dao Court to complain. Although Ning Qing wasn't in the Dao Court, the Dao Court had done countless things. The Grand Essence Dao Court didn't collect resources from the major sects, nor did it strip the resources of rogue cultivators. Under the Grand Essence Dao Court, there were countless pill houses, artifact houses, and other business models. In addition, there was also the income from entering and exiting the Grand Essence realm. With these alone, the Grand Essence Dao Court was enough to establish a foothold in the Grand Essence realm. It was also because of what the Grand Essence Dao Court had done in the past few months that the cultivators of the Grand Essence realm quickly became loyal to them. Now that the Grand Essence Dao Court issued a Dao Court crisis order, almost all cultivators who received the news rushed to the Heaven Essence Sacred City. The Grand Essence realm was a place with a Dao Court, and it had just established the Grand Essence Defensive Array. Yet, there were still people who wanted to divide the Grand Essence realm. It was no different from courting death. Feng Xian hadn't arrived yet, and the power gathered by Feng Xian was still scattered in all directions of the vast void. At the same time, the power of the Grand Essence realm had already begun to gather. At the same time, many escape lights flew in only one direction, that is, the Heaven Essence Sacred City. 10 days later, the Heaven Essence Sacred City had already become filled with experts. No matter how big the Heaven Essence Sacred City was, it couldn't accommodate so many people. Countless temporary caves started to appear around the periphery of the Heaven Essence Sacred City. The number of these caves increased exponentially every day. If the Grand Essence Tao Court didn't control these things, the crazed influx of cultivators would have been enough to overwhelm the Heaven Essence Sacred City. After a month, Ning Qing didn't continue to wait. He knew that more people would come here, but he couldn't wait any longer. This time, he didn't hold the meeting in the Grand Essence Tao Court's throne room. Instead, he set up a void throne room outside the Heaven Essence Sacred City to hold the meeting for all the cultivators who came to the Grand Essence Tao Court. Chapter 1139. Outside the Heaven Essence Sacred City, countless cultivators had gathered here. Ning Qing stood on the transparent void throne room, adding a bit of momentum. Ning Qing knew very well that the throne room was necessary. He didn't represent one person but the entire Tao Court. If there was no form, it would imperceptibly weaken the rallying power of the Tao Court. On Ning Qing's left and right stood the 10 pillars. As soon as Ning Qing stood out, the noisy scene suddenly quietened down. Ning Qing's prestige had slowly been established in the Grand Essence realm. Prestige was a thing that would subtly take root in people's hearts. As the leader of the Grand Essence Realm Pill Association, Ning Qing's only shortcoming was his weak cultivation, which was only at the early stage Tao Essence realm. If Ning Qing's cultivation was also at the Primordial Chaos realm, then he would truly be a Tao Lord. Even so, all the cultivators in the Grand Essence realm knew that. If one wanted to find a Tao Lord in the Grand Essence realm, Ning Qing was undoubtedly the only candidate. No one was more suitable than Ning Qing. Even the Tao Unification Holy Emperors of the Grand Essence realm weren't as suitable as Ning Qing. Ning Qing felt some pride in his heart. When he first arrived in the Grand Essence realm, he was just a passerby. In just a few years, he had condensed the power of the Grand Essence realm and almost stood at the peak of the Grand Essence realm. This time, the Tao Court's emergency order reflected the appeal of the Grand Essence Tao Court. This scene was more than 10 times more enthusiastic than the sect meeting he held in the name of the Pill Association. Ning Qing raised his hand and cupped his fists towards everyone. Then he spoke in a clear voice. Tao friends from the Grand Essence realm, I heard from Senior Kong of the Void Star sect half a year ago that the Mountain River Dipper was a Khanate artifact left behind by the ancient Holy Emperor during the Good Fortune War. I got lucky and obtained this treasure. At the same time, I used this treasure as the core of my Grand Essence Realm's protective array. But Feng Xian of the Boundless Realm Palace, relying on his status as a Tao Unification Holy Emperor, wants to invite all the powerhouses in the void to come to the Grand Essence Realm. He only has one purpose, to snatch the Mountain River Dipper and divide the cultivation resources of the entire Heaven Essence realm. Not to mention that the Mountains and Rivers Dipper doesn't belong to Feng Xian. Even if it did, if he wanted to carve up my Grand Essence realm, I, Ning Qing, would be the first to disagree. The Grand Essence realm is my home. I can bleed, I can fall, but I will never let bandits wreak havoc in my home. Kill him. Kill Feng Xian. You dare to divide up my Grand Essence realm? You're courting death. I support the Tao Court, I support Tao Lord Ning. My blood is here for the Grand Essence realm. Countless voices roared angrily. Some of the voices even contained their own Tao runes. For a moment, this angry declaration of war could be clearly heard within a radius of several million kilometers. Everyone had their own hot-bloodedness, and everyone had their own self-esteem. No matter how strong a cultivator's cultivation was, they would not be able to melt their own hot blood. It was just that most of the time, their hot-bloodedness was hidden by the desire to cultivate and continuously increase their strength. At this moment, the angry shouts of countless people aroused the blood of almost everyone, regardless of their cultivation level. Ning Qing used the mountains and rivers battle as the heart of the array formation. No matter what the cause was, the entire Grand Essence realm would benefit from it. As a cultivator of the Grand Essence realm, everyone would benefit from it. Ning Cheng's words did indeed contain a bit of encouragement, but this kind of intense encouragement was something that everyone was willing to do. At least Ning Cheng wasn't wrong about one thing. The Grand Essence Realm was the home of all Grand Essence people. Someone dared to come to their home to rob and plunder. If they didn't bleed and kill to their heart's content, when would they wait? What's more, the Dao court was in full control this time. Even if Feng Xian was a Dao perfection holy emperor, so what? Ning Cheng's heart also boiled. If he stood in the crowd, he would also be driven by everyone's hot-bloodedness. With so many people releasing their Dao wills, it would be difficult to keep calm under this kind of battle Dao runes. When everyone quieted down a little, Ning Cheng continued with enthusiasm, I knew it. There are no cowards in my Grand Essence realm. If cultivators fear death, how can we talk about the great Dao? We cultivate the Dao without fear of death. What's more, it's to protect the foundation of my Grand Essence realm. As the Dao friends of the Grand Essence realm said, if Feng Xian comes, we will kill him. If anyone dares to rob my Grand Essence realm, we will kill him. The Grand Essence realm is our home. We will protect it together. Just like in the past, the days where you can come and go as you please in my Grand Essence realm are gone forever. No one dares to rob my Grand Essence realm, not even Feng Xian. Support the Dao court, support the Dao Lord, we will not fear death. This time, there were more voices in unison. Ning Cheng raised his hand and motioned for his voice to stop. Then, he said, I hereby announce to all Dao friends in the Grand Essence realm that the Grand Essence Dao Court Army has been established. The Taisu Dao Court Army was divided into 10 armies, which were Li Feng Court Pillar led Taisu's First Army, Wang Huazhong Court Pillar led Taisu's Second Army, Dai Fu Court Pillar led Taisu's Third Army, Muyuan Kong Court Pillar led Taisu's Fourth Army, Fei Feng Court Pillar led Taisu's Fifth Army, Xiao Luojin Court Pillar led Taisu's Sixth Army, Peng Chiyuan Court Pillar led Taisu's Seventh Army, Luan Court Pillar led Taisu's Eighth Army, Gong Wu Court Pillar led Taisu's Ninth Army, and Xia Su Court Pillar led Taisu's 10th Army. Bai Caixia and Xiao Mozi will be in charge of all the follow-up matters. Senior Xue Ying, Senior Shi Yiqing, and Senior Kang Xiushan will be coordinating with each other. The banners and names of the various armies would be named according to their military achievements after this battle. Moreover, they would be engraved on the Heaven Essence Sacred City's Grand Essence Battle Record Stele. Those who make outstanding contributions in individual battles would also be engraved on the Grand Essence Battle Record Stele and rewarded with Dao confirming treasures. As for the follow-up matters, Ning Cheng naturally had to leave it to his own people. Bai Caixia and Xiao Mozi were his own people, so he could rest assured. Ning Cheng had arranged everything in an orderly manner. The 10 court pillars were originally the sect masters of the major sections. Each of the 10 major sects had at least a few million people, and some even had as many as 10 million people. Therefore, setting up an army was naturally not a problem. After the establishment of the 10 armies, the cultivators outside the Heaven Essence Sacred City were quickly divided up. Each of the 10 sect masters took out nearly 1 million people. The originally densely packed crowd immediately became clear after the formation of the 10 armies. When Ning Cheng said that the names of the armies would be named according to their military achievements, although the sect masters of the 10 major sects didn't say anything, they didn't want to lose to others. Moreover, Ning Cheng also came up with the Grand Essence Battle Record Stele. Ning Cheng, a Dao monarch, never spoke empty words. The huge Grand Essence boundary stele in the middle of the Heaven Essence Sacred City's public square had already explained the problem. On that boundary stele, the mysterious ancient clan ranked first, while the Silver Dragon clan ranked second. River Luo Sacred Sect, the premier sect of the 10 major sects, only ranked third in terms of contribution to the boundary protecting Grand Array. On one hand, it showed the wealth of the Sea clans. On the other hand, it also showed that River Luo Sacred Sect didn't live up to its name. They didn't even rank first in terms of contribution. Feng Xian's speed was faster than expected. When the Boundless Realm Palace really used their trump cards, the effect was fully reflected. Some hidden teleportation arrays, as well as teleportation talismans that weren't usually used, were put to use at this time. At this time, Feng Xian stood on the deck of a void airship. He looked at the endless void in the distance with his hands behind his back and a slight frown on his face. Two people stood beside him. Apart from the pretty female cultivator, there was also a man with Dao fusion cultivation. Palace Master, we can reach the periphery of the Grand Essence Realm in 2 months at most. We rarely come to this part of the void, nor do we have any hidden teleportation points. The pretty female cultivator standing next to him said in a low voice. Feng Xian shook his head. I don't think we're slow. In fact, it's already beyond my expectations to reach the periphery of the Grand Essence Domain in a little more than a year. What I'm worried about is that I made a mistake. Seeing you looking at him in confusion, Feng Xian sighed and explained, I shouldn't have issued the Boundless Realm Palace's summon order in advance. Said in doubt. Issuing the summon order in advance would allow everyone to reach the outside of the Grand Essence Realm quickly. They can't travel at the same speed as us. Once they're far away, they might have to spend more than 10 years on the road. Feng Xian said in a deep voice, people who spend more than 10 years on the road won't be able to help much even if they come. The main purpose of my summon order is not to deal with the people from the Grand Essence Realm, but to deal with the people from the Grand Change Realm going to the Grand Essence Realm. Think about it, if the people from the Grand Change Realm who want to kill Ningqing don't know that Ningqing is still alive. If I issued the summon order, wouldn't it be tantamount to telling others that Ningqing is still alive? You understood and nodded. Palace Master is right, but we can't come up with a perfect solution. I had just spoken up to hear when she suddenly took out a communication pearl, and her expression changed slightly. What's the matter? Feng Xian immediately asked. You was equivalent to his personal property, and everything had to be related to him. Replying to Palace Master, I just got the news that the Grand Essence Realm set up a boundary protecting Grand Array not long ago. You replied with a complicated expression. Boundary protecting Grand Array? Feng Xian frowned. What ability does the Grand Essence Realm have to set up a boundary protecting Grand Array? Even if those Dao integration experts joined forces, they wouldn't be able to find the person who set up the boundary protecting Grand Array, right? What's the specific situation? Yuka shook her head. I don't know yet. I've already sent a message to ask. But I guess that this boundary protecting Grand Array shouldn't be very strong. I guess it can only block people below Dao integration. With such a powerful boundary protecting Grand Array, even if Dao integration experts enter, the array can't stop them. Only Dao integration experts can take action. Feng Xian nodded. He felt that Yu was right. In a place like the Grand Essence Realm, even if a boundary protecting Grand Array could be set up, how could it stop him? As long as it couldn't stop him, he could tear up a mere boundary protecting Grand Array. Let's speed up. Even if he wasn't afraid of the Grand Essence Realm's boundary protecting Grand Array, Feng Xian decided to speed up and head to the Grand Essence Realm. If Feng Xian knew that his worries had come true, that Ao Beijiang of the Grand Essence Realm had really learned from him that Ningqing hadn't died and was on his way to the Grand Essence Realm with his people, perhaps his intestines would turn green with regret. Ao Beijiang knew that Ningqing hadn't died and had returned to the Grand Essence Realm because of Feng Xian's big mouth. At this time, he hurried to the Grand Essence Realm with several disciples. Mu Zuoxiao, who followed him, was just one of his many disciples and the one he was most proud of. Chapter 1140. The Magic Light Void City was just an ordinary void city in the endless void. At that moment, two men walked in the air from afar and landed at the entrance of the void city. Brother Yuhang, thank you very much. I didn't think that we would be able to recover our cultivation bases in just a few short years, said the slightly taller man with a smile. The man who was called Brother Yuhang also smiled with extreme satisfaction. He was just about to speak when his expression suddenly changed and he cursed angrily. This bastard is really shameless. Who's shameless? The slightly taller man asked in confusion. Brother Yuhang gave a snort and pointed to the notice suspended outside the city gate. That Feng Xian of the Limitless Palace. He even chased Brother Ning to the Grand Essence Realm. What a shameless thing. When the surrounding people heard Brother Yu Heng's words, they all moved to the side. Calling Feng Xian a shameless young man here was simply suicidal. Who would be willing to stand with such a person? At this time, the other slightly taller man also saw the notice floating outside the city gate. It was the Boundless Palace's summon order. The general meaning of the summoning order was that Ning Cheng of the Grand Essence Realm had snatched the treasures of the Boundless Realm Palace. Feng Xian expressed extreme indignation on behalf of the Boundless Realm Palace. This time, he gathered many like-minded Dao friends to go to the Grand Essence Realm to seek justice. In addition to that, the notice also vaguely mentioned that the Grand Essence Realm's laws were broken. There was no defensive array, but the treasures inside were piled up like mountains. Despite being so rich, Ning Cheng from the Grand Essence Realm still went to the Boundless Realm Palace to snatch treasures. It would be hard to justify not killing him. Ning Cheng? Is he the array formation master who rescued us from the Perpetual Moon sect? Nothing happened to him? The taller man asked in a slightly higher voice. Brother Yu Heng nodded. That's right, I forgot to tell you about this. When I went to the Limitless Palace, I happened to meet Ning Cheng, who was also going to the Limitless Palace. As a result, those shameless things from the Boundless Realm Palace wanted to take advantage of Brother Ning Cheng. I happened to see it and brought Brother Ning Cheng out. At that time, I thought the matter was over, but I didn't expect Feng Xian to be so persistent. Bastard, Feng Xian is nothing. He's just a small Dao integration cultivator with incomplete laws. Even if I, Huang Bei's, lose everything, I still have to go to the Grand Essence Realm to help. The slightly taller man spoke up in anger. He was also a Saint Emperor rescued by Ning Cheng from the Perpetual Moon Gate. With him was Wan Yuheng, who had met Ning Cheng in the Boundless Realm Palace. Wan Yuheng immediately said, I think so too. Back then, I was alone and couldn't do anything to Feng Xian. Now that we've recovered our cultivation, I don't believe that Feng Xian has 3 heads and 6 arms. Huang Bei's calmed down. Brother Yuheng, although our foundation is stronger than Feng Xian's, he is a Dao integration expert after all. The two of us shouldn't be his match. Our Perpetual Moon sect has more than 100 primordial chaos experts and half-step Dao integration experts. Why would we be afraid of Feng Xian? Even if we can't summon all of them, as long as we can summon 20 or 30 of them, Feng Xian will have to bear the consequences. Then what are we waiting for? Let's contact them now. Wan Yuheng took out his communication bead and sent out several messages in an instant. Huang Bei's also took out his communication bead and sent out several messages. The same scene happened everywhere. Outside Kunlan's Void City, a woman stared at the notice outside and muttered to herself in doubt. Was Ning Cheng from the Perpetual Moon sect? Before she could continue speculating, a message landed on her communication bead. Her face sank and she snorted. A mere Dao integration Holy Emperor dares to be so arrogant. After saying this, she went straight to the teleportation array. For most Dao confirmation Holy Emperors, as long as they learned about the kindness of saving their lives, they generally wouldn't turn a blind eye to it. If Feng Xian knew that he was a Dao integration cultivator and someone even mocked him for being a mere Dao integration cultivator, he would probably cry. On the boundless square outside the Grand Essence Realm, Feng Xian's spaceship had just landed when Ao Beijiang arrived. When Feng Xian saw Ao Beijiang also saw Feng Xian. Dao friend Xian, long time no see. I didn't expect you to come to my 5 grand realms. If I had known that Dao friend Xian would come, Ao Beijiang would have gone to greet you. Ao Beijiang greeted him with a smile on his face. Feng Xian also had a fake smile on his face. Thank you, Dao friend Beijiang, for your politeness. But this time, I'm not going to the Grand Change Realm. Instead, I'm here to collect some old debts. After saying this, Feng Xian didn't wait for Ao Beijiang to speak again and continued. The person I'm looking for is called Ning Cheng. He took 2 of my things. I don't know what this Ning Cheng stole from Brother Si Hen. Of course, if it's not convenient to say, then don't say it. Ao Beijiang asked with a smile. Feng Xian knew that since Ao Beijiang came, Ao Beijiang would definitely know that he had taken something from Ning Cheng. There was no point in hiding it at this time, so he simply said it directly. This person took away my mountain river dipper. In addition to the mountain river dipper, I also had a bead. Feng Xian didn't say what the bead was. Many people knew that the mountain river dipper belonged to Feng Xian, and Ao Beijiang naturally knew about it. Mountain river dipper? Did Ning Cheng really take away your mountain river dipper? Ao Beijiang repeated in shock. He thought that Feng Xian was looking for Ning Cheng because, like him, he suspected that Ning Cheng had a good fortune treasure. He didn't expect it to be the mountain river dipper. Did Ning Cheng have the ability to snatch the mountain river dipper from Feng Xian's hands? As for what the bead was, he completely ignored it. Feng Xian understood Ao Beijiang's meaning and showed a cold smile. Even if Ning Cheng's cultivation was 1,000,000 times stronger, he wouldn't be able to snatch the mountain river dipper from my hands. The reason why he could snatch the mountain river dipper is because I gave it to my nephew, Feng Yu. This Ning Cheng is insidious and cunning. He hid in the dark and secretly plotted against Feng Yu. Not only did he take away Feng Yu's true young heart, but he also took away the mountain river dipper. If Feng Yu wasn't stronger than him, I'm afraid this person would have killed him. Mu Zhuxiao, who stood next to Ao Beijiang, frowned slightly. Senior Feng, as far as I know, that Ning Cheng shouldn't be a villain who plotted against others. Why would he plot against Dao friend Feng Yu? The reason why Mu Zhuxiao said that Ning Cheng wasn't a villain was because he knew about the pill duel between Ning Cheng and Lu Dongzi. Although Ning Cheng won against Lu Dongzi, he didn't take the opportunity to take possession of the universe vegetation. Instead, he borrowed it. Feng Xian's mouth showed a cold smile. Who took away my things? I'm not blind. I must take away Ning Cheng. Feng Xian, please wait until I take away Ning Cheng. Brother Beijiang, please don't stop me. Ao Beijiang showed a faint smile. He first spoke to Mu Zhuxiao. Zhuxiao, you don't know what kind of person Ning Cheng is, because you're not familiar with him. After that, he cupped his fists towards Feng Xian and said, Brother Xian, I can't let you take away Ning Cheng. This person is a thief. He not only took away Brother Xian's mountain river dipper and bead, but also took away my things. Therefore, I have to take him away. Hearing Ao Beijiang admit that Ning Cheng stole his mountain river dipper and bead, Feng Xian felt slightly relieved. But then he asked, what did Ning Cheng take away from Brother Beijiang? Ao Beijiang sighed. Just as Brother Xian doesn't want to say what bead it is, I also don't want to say that he took away my things. It involves my privacy. Ning Cheng most likely had a good fortune treasure on him. Ao Beijiang wouldn't say it unless he was a fool. Seeing Feng Xian frowning and his expression turning ugly, Ao Beijiang quickly said, how about this, Brother Xian? When the time comes, I'll give you Ning Cheng's mountain river dipper and bead, but I'll take away Ning Cheng. Feng Xian didn't answer. He naturally knew about Ao Beijiang's cunning. He didn't even ask about the bead and said that he would give it to him. From this, it could be seen that the value of what he wanted from Ning Cheng was definitely higher than the wood origin bead. Thinking of this, Feng Xian decided to speak about the wood origin bead. Brother Beijiang, it's not that I don't believe you. It's because Ning Cheng took away my wood origin bead. Although we are old friends, the wood origin bead involves too much. It's not that I don't believe Brother Beijiang. Wood origin bead? Ao Beijiang spoke up in surprise. If he hadn't suspected that Ning Cheng had a good fortune treasure, he wouldn't have felt so shocked even if Ning Cheng had several origin beads on him. But now that Ning Cheng had a wood origin bead, it made him even more certain that Ning Cheng had a good fortune treasure. He had heard that to complete the mysterious yellow bead, he needed 5 origin beads. Did Ning Cheng have the mysterious yellow bead? Thinking of the mysterious yellow bead, Ao Beijiang trembled with excitement. Not waiting for Ao Beijiang to speak, several figures landed on the huge void public square outside the Grand Essence realm. These people quickly saw Feng Xian and quickly came over to greet him. Feng Xian felt overjoyed and quickly cupped his fists. Dao friends, you've worked hard. When things are over here, my boundless realm palace will not mistreat any of the Dao friends who came to help. Ao Beijiang calmed down completely at this time. He took a deep breath, cupped his fists again, and said to Feng Xian, "Brother Xian, I didn't expect that Ning Qing would snatch your wood origin bead. As you know, Zuoxiao is a primordial chaos pill saint, and the wood origin bead is very important to him. I'll take out a Dao integration Dao fruit, 10 top-grade spirit veins, and a piece of outer realm fog silk. How about exchanging them for your wood origin bead? But the premise is that Ning Qing must let me take him away. This person is too daring. Not only did he snatch my treasure, but he also took away Qiongshi." Ao Beijiang gnashed his teeth as he spoke. When Ao Beijiang mentioned the outer realm fog silk, Feng Xian felt shocked. The outer realm fog silk was a top-grade treasure for comprehending the third step Dao confirming Holy Emperor. Not to mention the Dao integration Dao fruit and 10 top-grade spirit veins. The value of a piece of outer realm fog silk was no worse than the wood origin bead. Although the wood origin bead was precious, it wasn't as practical as the outer realm fog silk. When Ao Beijiang mentioned Qiongshi, Feng Xian finally asked, "Qiongshi?" He knew who Qiongshi was. She was the most beautiful woman in the Grand Change realm, and Ao Beijiang had taken her into his arms. Did Ning Qing seduce this woman? Was it because of this woman that Ning Qing could steal Ao Beijiang's treasure? Chapter 1141. Deal, I just want the mountain river dipper and the thing you gave me. As for the wood origin bead, I will trade it to Brother Beijiang. How about it? Feng Xian said without hesitation. Ao Beijiang laughed. Brother Xian and I have been friends for a long time. There's no need to talk about now. Ao Beijiang felt extremely carefree. Every second step Dao validation expert wanted the outer realm fog thread. Just thinking about it being a treasure that could help one comprehend the third step Dao validation made him tremble with excitement. The key was that the outer realm mist silk could only be found by chance. Only Ao Beijiang knew that the actual effect of the outer realm mist silk was far less than the rumors said. He had obtained 2 outer realm mist silk and used one of them. He had indeed reached the third step of Dao vindication. However, only he knew that if he wanted to use the outer realm mist silk to truly reach the third step Dao vindication expert, it would be like trying to see the moon in the water. The difference between comprehending the third step shadow and the third step Dao vindication expert was like heaven and earth. Feng Xian also laughed and said, "Let's enter the great essence realm together. I heard that there's a realm protection grand formation here." Ao Beijiang pointed at the realm protection grand formation in front of him. Child's play. I guess my disciples Zuoxiao organized the 5 realms pill competition to let some juniors see the realm protection grand formation. As he spoke, Ao Beijiang took a step forward. The boundless void plaza seemed like it was only a single step beneath his feet. With just a casual step, he arrived at the end of the plaza. "Stop, without permission, you are not allowed to enter my great essence realm." A Dao molding divine emperor stopped Ao Beijiang and Feng Xian behind him. Ao Beijiang snorted coldly and raised his hand to deliver a slap. This Dao molding divine emperor was slapped flying and spat out mouthfuls of blood. While still in the air, the Dao molding divine emperor threw out several red lights. A series of sharp screeches spread out like ripples. Ao Beijiang and Feng Xian's positions immediately changed. Immediately, the two of them discovered that their surroundings were shrouded in mist and they could no longer see their surroundings clearly. Ao Beijiang's face turned ugly as he said in disbelief, "This array isn't any weaker than the Supreme Change Realm's protective array. How is this possible?" Almost at the same time, Feng Xian also saw the power of this array formation. He even thought that this array formation was stronger than the array formation of the Great Change Realm. A series of shrill cries continued to spread, and it seemed as though there was an endless amount of Daoist aura rushing over. Zuoxiao, request Dao Monarch Jess of the Glazed Ing Dao Court to mobilize the army of the Dao Court. Agree to his request. At this instant, Ao Beijiang knew that things weren't as simple as he had imagined. Regardless of how powerful the Grand Essence Realm was, this defensive array wasn't something a Dao Perfection Realm cultivator could break. This defense array was so strong that he suspected that it used a Khanate Dharma treasure as its foundation. Waves of Dao runes came crashing down, but Ao Beijiang and Feng Xian didn't move. It wasn't that they couldn't break the Dao charm power of these defensive arrays, but that Ao Beijiang's slap had severely injured the Grand Essence Realm's Guardian Array formation. If they dared to try to break the array formation again, they would have to fight to the death. Not to mention, this array formation wasn't that easy to break. Feng Xian's expression kept changing, and no one knew what he was thinking. Kacha! With a crisp sound, the surrounding mist-like Dao runes cracked open, and an old man walked out with dozens of people. Kang Xiushan? Feng Xian exclaimed in shock. He had calculated that Kang Xiushan couldn't come out due to the poison. But he didn't expect that Kang Xiushan not only came out, but his cultivation wasn't affected at all. If Shi Yiqing also came out, he wouldn't have been able to escape this time. Fortunately, he and Ao Beijiang had formed an alliance, and Ao Beijiang even invited the Dao court army to threaten him. Kang Xiushan's face turned gloomy, and he looked at the few people coldly. Ao Beijiang, Feng Xian, do you think my Grand Essence Realm is easy to bully? You came to the Grand Essence Realm, but you even dared to injure my Grand Essence Realm's guardian Holy Emperor. Not only that, but you also wanted to break my Grand Essence Realm's realm-protecting Grand Array. Do you think you're invincible in the universe and want to crush my Grand Essence Realm? Congratulations to Brother Kong for returning to the peak. I, Feng Xian, came to the Grand Essence Realm from the Boundless Realm Palace for only one thing. That is, Ning Cheng of the Grand Essence Realm stole my Boundless Realm Palace's Xiantian artifact, Mountain River Dipper. As long as Brother Kong hands over Ning Cheng, I, Feng Xian, am willing to apologize and compensate for the Grand Essence Realm's losses. I'll also withdraw from the Grand Essence Realm's defensive array. Feng Xian cupped his fists and spoke politely. The Grand Essence Realm's array formation had been perfected. Not only that, but it also had a powerhouse like Kang Xiushan standing guard. If he still wanted to carve up the Grand Essence Realm like before, it would be too unrealistic. It could only be said that he wasn't well informed. No wonder Ning Cheng had to flee back to the Grand Essence Realm. Brother Kong is right. Ning Cheng has done too much evil. As long as you let us take Ning Cheng away, I, Ao Beijiang, am willing to compensate for my recklessness. Once things turn sour, it won't be good for anyone. The Grand Change Realm isn't far from here, and millions of Dao court army troops can reach it at any time. Ao Beijiang and Feng Xian had the same thoughts. He didn't expect the Grand Essence Realm's defensive array to be this powerful. An abrupt voice came over, "So, you're going to threaten us?" Seeing this woman, Ao Beijiang frowned slightly. Kang Xiushan was enough of a headache, and now Shi Yiqing came along. Whether it's a threat or not, I really didn't expect it. We came here just to take Ning Cheng away. The Luing Dao Court's Dao Court army has already come to pick us up, and the Boundless Palace's summon has already been issued. I believe that the sooner Ning Cheng leaves this place, the better it would be for the Grand Essence Realm. Ao Beijiang said calmly. Old thing, do you want to die? How dare you take away our Dao Lord? Do you think my Grand Essence Realm can come and go as you please? An angry voice shouted. A primordial essence Holy Emperor next to Ao Beijiang also stood up in displeasure when he heard this angry shout. For you, how can you interrupt when a Dao Perfection powerhouse speaks? Are you deaf? We want to take Ning Cheng away. Besides, when did your Grand Essence Realm have a Dao Lord? Little thing, listen to me. Your grandfather is Zhu Fanghen, the first protector of the Elixir Association. Ning Cheng is the first Dao Lord of my Grand Essence Dao Court. How dare these two ignorant things come to my Grand Essence Realm to take away our Dao Lord? But Zhu Fanghen spat after he finished speaking. Ever since Ning Cheng killed Mansuotian and avenged Sichen Qiutian, he became much more relaxed and supported Ning Cheng even more. The many primordial essence holy emperors who came with the Grand Essence Realm all felt relieved. Many people admired Ning Cheng's foresight. If Ning Cheng hadn't led everyone to set up the realm-protecting Grand Array and the Grand Essence Dao Court didn't exist, why would these two Dao Perfection holy emperors speak so politely? The Grand Essence Realm was no longer the Grand Essence Realm of the past. The days of coming and going freely in the Grand Essence Realm were long gone. Feng Xian and Ao Beijiang were completely shocked by Zhu Fenghan's words. It wasn't surprising for the Grand Essence Realm to set up a realm protecting Grand Essence Realm and establish a Dao court. What was surprising was that Ning Cheng, a mere Dao transformation holy emperor, had become a Dao court lord. Was there anything more outrageous than this in this world? Could it be that a pill sage who knew alchemy had such a high status in the Grand Essence Realm? As far as they knew, Ning Cheng's glory was only because he got into the top 3 in the 5 realms pill competition. Ao Beijiang took in a deep breath and spoke with a low voice. This is our fault. Dao friend Xian and I didn't know that Ning Cheng was the Dao court's Dao lord of the Grand Essence Realm. In that case, we are willing to withdraw. The 2 Dao Perfection Holy Emperors were willing to leave and even took the initiative to admit their mistakes. Everyone didn't know what to say for a while. At this moment, a cold voice sounded, "You came to my Grand Essence Realm and beat people up, and now you want to leave? Your face isn't even as white as his ass." Just as the voice fell, a young man landed in front of everyone. Pill Sage Ning? Mu Zuoxiao knew Ning Cheng and called out in surprise as soon as Ning Cheng appeared. Feng Xian stared at Ning Cheng and didn't speak. Even though Ning Cheng went to the Boundless Palace to disguise himself, he still recognized Ning Cheng now. What shocked him was that Ning Cheng wasn't a Dao Transformation Holy Emperor. His cultivation was at the Dao Essence Holy Emperor level. Moreover, his aura was restrained and his Dao runes were circulating. His cultivation had already condensed for a long time. This person was definitely a strong opponent. If he didn't kill Ning Cheng this time, would the Boundless Palace still exist in the future? Thinking of this, Feng Xian felt a chill in his heart. This was the first time he felt so afraid of a Dao Essence Holy Emperor. What can you do about it if I just injured a Dao modeling ant? Hearing Ning Cheng's words, Ao Beijiang's voice also turned cold. He was a Dao perfection expert. So what if Ning Cheng was a Dao court lord? As for Ning Cheng's cultivation, he had only heard about it before and didn't have any direct impression. Compensate everyone with 10 supreme-grade God Spirit veins and then scram. Otherwise, die, Ning Cheng said in an indifferent tone. His killing intent surged out along with his words, one Dao rune after another. Even Kang Xiushan and the others felt that Ning Cheng was asking for too much. He wanted 20 supreme-grade God Spirit veins to injure a Dao modeling Holy Emperor? This was asking Ao Beijiang and Feng Xian. If Kang Xiushan asked for it, he wouldn't even have a single supreme-grade God Spirit vein. To everyone's surprise, Ao Beijiang did not hesitate to throw out a ring to Ning Cheng. Seeing Ao Beijiang throw a ring, Feng Xian hesitated for a moment before also throwing a ring to Ning Cheng. Then, the 2 of them didn't say a word and just stared at Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng scanned the ring with his spiritual consciousness before throwing out an array flag and saying in a cold tone, "Scram." A path suddenly appeared in the defensive array surrounded by Dao runes. Ao Beijiang, Feng Xian, and the others instantly retreated from this path. Dao Lord Ning, I'm afraid we'll offend them even more, Flaming Feather Spirit Mountain Sect Master Peng Chiyuan said worriedly. Ning Cheng shook his head. No, even if we please them and send them out, this battle is inevitable. He has dignity as a Dao Integration Holy Emperor. If he loses it here, he will definitely get it back. The reason why he didn't dare to make a move before was because he didn't have any chance of winning. It's a pity that they didn't give me a chance. I can't make the first move. After Ning Cheng said that, he handed the ring to Li Feng behind him and said, in the future, when the battle starts, these will be the rewards. Chapter 1142. Everyone understood what Ning Cheng meant. Experts like Feng Xian and Ao Beijiang had been told to scram by Ning Cheng. If they did not regain their face, they would not be Dao integration experts. When Ning Cheng said that they couldn't start now, he also understood the strength of the Grand Change Realm. When Ao Beijiang brought the Dao Court's army over, it would become a grudge between Ao Beijiang and the Grand Essence Realm. If they killed Ao Beijiang at this time, it would be equivalent to the Grand Essence Realm slapping the Grand Change Realm's face. At that time, it would not just be one Dao Court army, but 5 Dao Court armies. No matter how strong the Grand Essence Realm's Great Barrier Array was, it couldn't deal with the Great Change Realm's 5 Great Tao Court armies at the same time. There was one more thing that Ning Qing didn't tell anyone. That is, there was still a secret about his barrier-protecting Grand Array. If they wanted to fight, they had to make full use of this secret and kill as many invaders as possible. If he destroyed the army of a Tao court, others would have to think twice before coming over. We're still too weak. But as long as we survive this time, anyone who wants to deal with my Grand Essence Realm will have to see if their bones are hard enough. Ning Qing looked at Ao Beijiang and Feng Xian's backs and spoke with some helplessness. Ning Qing didn't care much about Ao Beijiang bringing the Tao court's army. With his 7 bridges spirit technique and time wheel, he wasn't afraid of numbers. No one knew that the Grand Essence Realm's boundary-protecting Grand Array also had a hidden trap and kill array. Moreover, the array heart of this trap and kill array was another innate weapon, the innate Dragon Pearl. Ever since Ning Qing arranged the protective array for the Grand Essence Realm, he had been leading the Grand Essence Tao Court in an orderly manner. Now that Ning Qing had made such a decision, no one would think that it was inappropriate. Even Kong Xiushan and Shi Yiqing didn't think it was inappropriate. Brother Beijiang, you're really magnanimous and patient. If Brother Beijiang went all out at that time, I, Feng Xian, would have done my best to help. Feng Xian and Ao Beijiang stood in the void far away from the Grand Essence Realm and spoke with a sarcastic tone. At this time, hundreds of people had gathered behind him, and more were coming. Obviously, Feng Xian was not willing to leave just like that. If Ao Beijiang wasn't here, he might really have no choice but to leave. Now that Ao Beijiang was here, how could he just leave like that? Ao Beijiang smiled calmly as well, then said nonchalantly, "Do you think you're that amazing just because you've become a Tao Lord? If I wanted to be a Tao Lord, I would have become a Tao Lord long ago. When my Great Change Realm's Tao Court army arrives, I will let Ning Qing know that just having the title of Tao Lord isn't enough. I also need my own Tao Court army. The Taisu Tao Court has just been established, and even the Tao Court army can only pull out a few of them. Even if there are, they are just a motley crew." His words were calm, but only Ao Beijiang himself knew the humiliation he was feeling. The humiliation of Ning Qing telling him to fuck off, he felt it much deeper than Feng Xian. This was not the first time someone with a lower cultivation level had told him to get lost. It was the first time in the beyond of heaven and earth. The young man stood quietly in front of him and told him to scram in a flat tone. He attacked angrily, but his opponent only had one slash. After that slash, he almost didn't even have the chance to roll away. This time, he heard someone telling him to get lost again. At that time, he wanted to rush up and twist Ning Qing's head off so that he could see clearly that he was the Tao Integration's Sacred Emperor of the Great Change Realm, Ao Beijiang. Even the Tao Lords of the Great Change Realm had to address him as a senior. However, he didn't. He had a hunch that if he had dared to rush up, Ao Beijiang would no longer exist in this world. He didn't even use his escape technique. Under that array formation, he felt a sense of restraint and felt that he couldn't use his escape technique. At the thought of this, Ao Beijiang's heart suddenly trembled. He felt a sense of familiarity. 2 scrums. 2 young Saint Emperors, and their cultivations were lower than his. Was the matter of the past going to repeat itself? Very soon, Ao Beijiang forcibly put these thoughts aside. How was this possible? When the Luing Tao Court's Tao Court army arrived, he would have 30 to 40 primordial chaos experts on his side. Brother Feng Xian, how many primordial chaos experts can you bring with you? Ao Beijiang suddenly asked when he thought of the primordial chaos experts. He knew that the real deciding factor might not be the 4 Tao integration experts or the weaker sacred emperors, but the number of primordial chaos experts. Feng Xian understood what Ao Beijiang meant and said after pondering for a while, "If we can wait here for 2 or 3 years, I believe I can bring at least 20 primordial chaos experts. I can mobilize nearly 40 primordial chaos experts. No matter how many primordial chaos experts the Great Simplicity Realm has, they can't mobilize more than 30 people," Ao Beijiang said coldly. Feng Xian finally had a chance to speak his mind. "Brother Beijiang, you and I are both Tao integration experts. If we let this humiliation go, I'm afraid it will damage our Tao hearts. Since we can crush the Great Simplicity Realm in terms of strength, we might as well break the Great Simplicity Realm's defense array and divide it up. How could Ao Beijiang not understand what Feng Xian meant? The people Feng Xian brought could be considered a real motley crew. In addition to giving Feng Xian face, these people came here to get a share of the loot. Dividing up the Great Simplicity Realm and snatching the resources of various sects was naturally a good thing. Okay, it's settled. Ao Beijiang nodded in agreement without hesitation. No matter how much blame he received, it was nothing compared to the good fortune treasure. Besides, he had just been insulted by a Tao essence cultivator. If he couldn't regain his dignity after being humiliated twice in a row, then his Tao heart would truly have a problem. Grand Essence Military City. This was a new city built after the establishment of the Grand Essence Tao Court Army. The area of the military city was far larger than the Great Simplicity Realm's first sacred city, the Heaven Essence Sacred City. Here, the Grand Essence Tao Court Army's 9 armies trained. In the Grand Essence Military City, whether it was a sect master or a Tao-confirming sacred emperor, they only had one identity, the Tao Court Army. Only the 10th Tao Court Army led by Heavenly Array Valley's Sha Su wasn't here. The 10th Tao Court Army was also training, but it wasn't ordinary cooperative combat training. Instead, it was array formation training. This was Ning Cheng's newly created sky overturning strangulation array. Under the guidance of Sha Su's array flags, millions of cultivators who were proficient in array formations surged with Tao runes. At the center of the array, the rumbling of the Tao runes squeezed the space and made crackling sounds. It felt as if the space would collapse in the next moment. All the cultivators who participated in the array formation training were secretly shocked. If they were left in the heart of this array, they would have no chance of surviving. In this kind of space, even magic treasures would be difficult to bring out, and spirit techniques would also be suppressed within the range of one's body. Only Sha Su vaguely knew some secrets. The killing array he led the people to practice didn't even display 1/10 of its power. This killing array could only display its full power in the Boundary Protection Grand Array. He guessed that Ning Cheng had arranged another even more terrifying trap and kill array in the Boundary Protection Grand Array. Once Ning Cheng activated this trap and kill array, he could use the Strangulation Grand Array formed by the Tao Court Army to complement it. That way, they would be invincible and invincible. No matter how many people came, they wouldn't be enough to kill. At this time, Sha Su admired Ning Cheng from the bottom of his heart, but he also felt an unknown awe. No wonder Tao Lord Ning could kill Man Suotian. With such means and strength, it wasn't an accident that Tao Lord Ning killed Man Suotian. He was sure that even if they fought again, Ning Cheng would still kill Man Suotian. This made him even more determined to stand with Ning Cheng and absolutely not do anything stupid. As for Feng Xian, if he dared to come to the Grand Essence Realm, Sha Su was sure that he wouldn't touch a single hair on Ning Cheng's body except to escape. As for the people he brought with him, they probably wouldn't survive. Even Feng Xian himself might not be able to get out of this Strangulation Grand Array if he ran a little slower. Outside the Grand Essence Realm's Boundary Protection Grand Array, things looked a little strange at this time. People kept gathering around Feng Xian, and some primordial chaos holy emperors came from the void and appeared next to Ao Beijiang. With so many people gathered outside the Grand Essence Realm, even a fool would know that these people were ready to attack the Grand Essence Realm. But the Grand Essence Realm didn't move at all. No one even came out to ask about it. It was as if they really didn't know about these things. As for Tao Lord Ning Cheng of the Grand Essence Tao Court, he was cultivating under the mysterious very ancient clan's annual rings. He knew that Ao Beijiang was mobilizing the Tao Court Army, and he also knew that Feng Xian was waiting for his motley crew. Ning Cheng wasn't in a hurry at all. He had already set up his net. He just had to wait for these people to arrive before he could start. Chapter 1143. 2 to 3 years passed in a blink of an eye for a cultivator. Outside the Grand Essence Realm's protective array, the Luing Tao Court's army of millions had already arrived. Compared to the Luing Dao court's army of millions, the hundreds of thousands of people behind Realmless Palace's Feng Xian looked a little chaotic. The void public square outside the Grand Essence Realm had already been occupied by the Dao Court's army and Realmless Palace's cultivators. Not a single person from the Grand Essence Realm could be seen on the public square. The bearded Jesse walked up to Ao Beijiang and cupped his fists towards Ao Beijiang. "Senior Ao, I brought 60% of the Luing Dao Court's army this time. Therefore, I hope that Senior can agree to a request of mine." Ao Beijiang waved his hand and said without hesitation, "I've already agreed to the request you mentioned before." Jesse shook his head. "Apart from this, there's one more thing. Ning Cheng most likely has the Tai Sacred Devil Art. That book was snatched from my Luing Dao Court's Lu Fangzhen." Tai Devil Art? Ao Beijiang immediately understood what Jesse wanted when he heard Jesse's words. He felt even more shocked in his heart. Just how much luck did this cultivator called Ning Cheng have? How could he obtain so many good things? He even had a devil art. However, he didn't even think about it and directly said, "I agree. As long as we can find the Tai devil art from Ning Cheng, that book will be yours." "Okay, Senior Ao, please tell us how we're going to attack." Jesse felt overjoyed. Apart from Ao Beijiang's promise, he also came here for the devil art from Ning Cheng. Feng Xian also walked over and said, "Yes, Brother Beijiang can decide how to break through the Grand Essence Realm's protective array this time. If not for the Luing Dao Court's army, the hundreds of thousands of people he gathered would have looked spectacular and imposing. But in front of the Luing Dao Court's army filled with killing intent, his hundreds of thousands of people were nothing more than a motley crew. The reason why the Dao Court's army could be called an army was because of the murderous aura. This murderous aura wasn't something that a single sage emperor could produce. It was the combined killing intent of countless experts. The Grand Essence Realm's protective array doesn't look simple. Dao Lord Jesse, do you think this array has any weaknesses? Where should we start? Ao Beijiang looked at Jace. Jesse was a top-notch divine array master and one of the most famous divine array masters in the Great Change Realm. This was also one of the reasons why Ao Beijiang didn't worry about the Grand Essence Realm's defensive array. Jace's expression turned serious as he stared at the mist-shrouded Grand Array at the end of the void public square. Only after a while did he speak up. "This Grand Array looks a bit like the 81 Voidlock Array. 80 strands of Dao Charm of Space have locked the void outside the Grand Essence Realm. The other strand of Dao Charm of Space is most likely a Khanate artifact acting as the core of the array. If we want to attack this formation, we must first send someone to suppress the core of the formation." Ao Beijiang was overjoyed. It's for the best that Dao Lord Jace was able to see through this defensive formation. "Let's see how we're going to attack." Jace shook his head. "I'm just guessing that this is the 81 Voidlock Array, and there is a Khanate magic treasure suppressing the array core. However, this formation seems a little different, so we can only be sure after entering the defense formation." Ao Beijiang naturally understood this as well. To him, as long as Jace grasped the slightest hint of this array, he would be able to deal with it. A few dozen primordial chaos powerhouses plus millions of Dao Court troops would be able to tear apart this defense formation. No matter how powerful a defensive formation was, it was nothing in front of a true powerhouse. If he had surpassed the second step of Dao confirming and entered the third step, even if he knew nothing about array formations, he could easily tear apart the Grand Essence Realm's defense formation. This was the qualitative change that occurred when one's strength reached a certain level. After Jace said that, he began to mobilize the Dao Court troops into the defense formation. If Jace knew that this defense formation didn't have one Khanate artifact, but two Khanate artifacts suppressing the array core, he might have regretted coming here. After Jace spoke, Feng Xian didn't say anything else. When he heard Jace say that the Grand Essence Realm's Grand Array had a Khanate artifact suppressing it, he had a bad feeling in his heart. Since Ning Cheng had snatched away his Mountain and River Dipper, could it be that the Grand Essence Realm used his Mountain and River Dipper to suppress the array? Under the leadership of a Primordial Chaos Holy Emperor, 2 Dao Perfection Holy Emperors, and a top-grade Spirit Array Master like Jace, the Dao court troops charged towards the Grand Essence Realm's defense formation. This kind of momentum was almost crushing, without the slightest hesitation. Millions of people, almost with every step they took, a powerful murderous aura and Dao rhymes condensed together, causing bursts of crackling sounds. Luing cloud-cleaving army, advance 30 miles in the direction of my array flag and stand at the Gen position. Luing god-subduing army, advance 100 miles in the direction of the array flag and stand at the Sun position. Jace threw out array flags one after another, and teams of cultivator troops charged forward with murderous Dao rhymes. In a short time, this place was filled with a solemn and murderous aura. 4 armies suppress. The rest of you follow my array flags and attack. Jace's voice grew faster and faster. Not only did he feel that something was wrong, but even the 2 Dao Perfection Holy Emperors also felt that something was wrong. Because no one from the Grand Essence Realm came out to stop them, and there wasn't even a sound of alarm. It was normal that there was no sound of alarm. After all, they had been waiting outside the Grand Essence Realm for several years. Even if the people of the Grand Essence Realm were idiots, they would know that they would attack the Grand Essence Realm sooner or later. But no one came out to stop them. This wasn't right. Jace began to suppress the array core and was ready to break the array. Boom boom boom. The Dao Court Army's first wave of attacks finally landed on the Void Array flags. Everyone felt their bodies shake, as if the void they were standing in had become unstable. Jace threw out array flags one after another, and the continuous attacks were coordinated by the array flags. The rumbling sounds grew faster and faster. As a Dao Lord, Jace had led the Dao Court Army into countless battles. As an array formation master, he knew that once a battle started, the most taboo thing to do was to cower. Everyone knew the principle of the first burst of energy, the second burst of energy, and the third burst of energy. Ka ka ka. Sounds of the defensive array cracking rang out, and someone finally spoke. Ao Beijiang, this is the first time you bullied my Grand Essence Realm for no reason and even injured my Grand Essence Realm's people. Our Dao monarchs didn't care about it because the Grand Change Realm and the Grand Essence Realm both belong to the 5 Grand Realms. But I didn't expect you to go too far. You even brought the Dao Court Army. Do you want to be a bandit as a famous Dao Perfection expert? The one who spoke was Kong Xiushan. After a series of cracking sounds, Kong Xiushan's figure was revealed. Beside him, there were countless blurry figures of array masters who were anxiously and nervously laying down array flags. It was clear that they were protecting the array. Seeing this scene, many people breathed a sigh of relief. It turned out to be a deceptive array. If this array formation hadn't been blasted open, they wouldn't have known that the Grand Essence Realm was just putting on a strong front. Ao Beijiang showed a cold smile. Kong Xiushan, don't pretend. I'll say it again. Hand over Ningcheng and we'll retreat. Otherwise, the Grand Change Dao Court Army won't retreat so easily. Just as Ao Beijiang's voice fell, a cracking sound rang out, and the entire space trembled. It felt as if countless spaces had started to collapse. The Grand Essence Realm's appearance became clearer under everyone's spiritual consciousness. Kong Xiushan's expressions changed. He waved his hand and said, "All array formation masters, retreat. The Grand Simplicity people, press forward. Even if my Grand Simplicity Realm has to kill to the last person, we will never let these shameless people invade." Although Kong Xiushan said these words, he felt speechless in his heart. Ningcheng had asked him to say these words. He was sure that even an idiot could see that the Grand Essence Realm's defensive array was so easily blasted open. It was a deceptive move to lure the enemy. Who made Ningcheng a Dao Lord? He could only do as Ningcheng said. Kong Xiushan didn't guess wrong. While he retreated with the Grand Essence Realm's Spirit Array Masters, no one from Ao Beijiang's side rushed in. Just as Kong Xiushan thought, even an idiot could tell that this array formation was so easy to break. Ao Beijiang and Feng Xian glanced at Jesse but didn't speak. Jesse hesitated for a moment before saying, "That Ningcheng doesn't look like an idiot. Why use such a low-level method?" Feng Xian remained silent for a while before saying, "On the contrary, I don't think this is a low-level method. It's the most successful way to lure the enemy. The most successful? Everyone stared at Feng Xian. Feng Xian said in a deep voice, "Everyone knows that this is a low-level method to lure the enemy. But since we want to go to the Grand Essence Realm, can we not go in?" Many people understood Feng Xian's meaning. This person deliberately used this method to lure the enemy. But since you want to destroy the Grand Essence Realm, you have to fall for it. If you don't want to go in, then retreat. This had been planned for many years, so who would want to retreat? Jesse nodded. I also guess that Ning Qing used an overt plot. Facing this situation, we have to go in. Since we know that he's luring the enemy, we can't go in together. Only a few of us can go in. Ning Qing just wants to let some of our people enter, and then kill as many of them as he can to weaken our strength. If he really thinks this way, then we can only say that he's like this. Sometimes, in the face of absolute strength, small schemes don't have much use. Although he said that, Jesse didn't send anyone in. Ao Beijiang had to say, "Dao Lord Jesse, send an army to test it out. If the killing array isn't too strong, we can tear it apart with our strength." Jesse felt helpless, but he could only do this. His Dao Court army came here to do this. He didn't use the Dao Court army suppressing the innate artifacts array core. This time, he sent out 100,000 of the most ordinary Dao Court army. The 100,000 Dao Court army rushed directly into the cracked defensive array under the leadership of a primordial essence holy emperor. As soon as these 100,000 people rushed in, a terrifying killing sound swept in from all directions, trapping these 100,000 people tightly. The Dao Charm killing lines seemed almost corporeal as they blasted into the 100,000 Dao Court army. Just like cutting melons and stir-frying vegetables, the 100,000 Dao Court army died at a speed visible to the naked eye. Even the primordial essence holy emperor couldn't hold on for long. I understand. This is a void strangulation array. It's an array formation that uses 10 to kill 1. This is their trump card. Just now, the Grand Essence Realm used nearly 1 million Dao Court army. Moreover, they still have more than 2 million people who haven't moved yet. If we fill in bit by bit, we will end up like those 100,000 people. If we all rush in, the effect of this array formation will weaken indefinitely. We can definitely tear this strangulation array apart in a short time. Jesse said with a stern voice. Chapter 1144. Jesse's attainments in the Tao of arrays definitely surpassed Sha Su's. Sha Su couldn't see through Ning Cheng's void strangulation array. When Ning Cheng explained to Sha Su that it was a void strangulation array, Sha Su still felt a little worried. He worried that no one in the Grand Change Realm could see that Ning Cheng's array was a void strangulation array in a hurry. If they couldn't see through it, the Grand Change Realm's Dao Court's army might choose to attack the array from the periphery. If they kept attacking from the periphery, no matter how weak the effect was, after a few decades, the Grand Essence Realm's defensive array's first array, the Heart Mountain River Dipper, might break. To prevent the Heart Mountain River Dipper from getting damaged, Ning Cheng would definitely take the initiative to attack. Once he took the initiative to attack, even with the help of a hidden killing array, the Grand Essence Realm's losses would rise sharply. Ning Cheng set up this void strangulation array so as not to suffer too many losses. Ning Cheng didn't guess wrong. After the Luing Dao Court's army's first wave of attacks, someone recognized it as a void strangulation array, and everyone rushed forward. Just as Jesse expected, after the Luing Dao Court's army swarmed forward, the void strangulation array broke without any resistance. Nearly 2 million Grand Essence Dao Court's army was exposed in front of everyone. Feng Xian laughed, but before he could speak, he heard Ao Beijiang say in a deep voice, "Something still doesn't feel right." Jesse frowned slightly. He knew that his judgment was correct. It was indeed a void strangulation array. But as Ao Beijiang said, something still didn't feel right after the void strangulation array broke. But he soon felt relieved. So what if something was wrong? Even if there was another killing array that he couldn't see through, there was nothing to be afraid of. To trap millions of Dao Court's army, dozens of primordial chaos holy emperors, and 2 Dao reunion holy emperors, The Grand Essence Realm couldn't set up such a killing array. In the end, they still had to rely on force. Feng Xian repeated Jae's words, "Brother Beijiang, even if they still have a hidden trap and kill array or other means, so what? At this time, we have to rely on force. Even if we lose some people, we can definitely tear apart the entire Grand Essence Realm's defensive array." There was one more thing that Feng Xian didn't say. That is, if the Grand Essence Realm truly had top-level means, he and Ao Beijiang, two Dao Perfection Realm cultivators, could easily escape. After that, Feng Xian waved his hand, and his Dao charm mixed with his voice roared out, "Tai Su is right in front of us. Fellow Daoists, follow me to crush it. Let's celebrate in Tai Su." Almost at the same time as Feng Xian launched his attack, Jesse also drove the Dao Court army. The aura of millions of Dao Court army swept down, and the Taisu Dao Court army in front of them was like a thin piece of paper that could be crushed into powder at any time. Dao ripples rumbled as killing intent swept out. Everything in front of the glazed pearl Dao Court's army would be shattered into pieces at this instant. Every cultivator in the void could feel a burst of panic in their hearts. Even the Grand Essence Realm's Dao Court army, who knew that Ning Cheng had a backup plan, felt a burst of panic. No matter how strong a person was, they could only wait for death under the crushing Dao rhyme-killing aura. Space was no longer space, and the laws were no longer under the control of an individual. With so many killing Dao rhymes condensing together, it formed a terrifying killing pressure. Even cultivators with weaker Dao hearts would have their resistance plummet. The killing Dao rhymes in the space scraped against the Grand Essence Realm's Dao Court army in front of them, causing blood to blossom. One by one, the Grand Essence Realm's Dao Court army was blown into the void by this killing Dao rhyme and directly disintegrated into a blood mist. The Grand Essence Realm's Dao Court army had only been established for a short time. Even if they had been informed in advance, it was still difficult for them to act in such a situation. The Dao Court army became a little chaotic. Seeing the killing aura continue to suppress them, the Grand Essence Realm's Dao Court army would collapse without a fight. Ning Cheng, who stood at the edge of the void's killing aura, acted as if he didn't see it at all. He kept staring at the Grand Change Realm's Dao Court army rushing in. When the last soldier of the Dao Court rushed in, he suddenly threw out several dozens of array flags and issued a battle call at the same time. The space filled with the killing Dao rhyme aura suddenly stagnated at this moment. It felt as if an invisible giant hand was stirring up the killing space created by the Grand Change Realm's Luiying Dao Court army. The killing space turned chaotic, and the imposing aura of the space no longer suppressed the Grand Essence Realm's Dao Court army. This is absolutely impossible. Jae stared at the gradually disorderly killing Dao rhyme in the surrounding space in shock. The strangulation space that had suppressed the Grand Essence Realm's Dao Court army collapsed, and endless new killing auras slowly filled the air. These killing auras started to counterattack under the stirring of the more than 2 million Grand Essence Realm's Dao Court army. Jae was a top-notch array formation expert, so he naturally understood that he had fallen into a top-notch trap and kill array. If he had to arrange this kind of trap and kill array, he wouldn't have been able to do so without hundreds of thousands of people and a few years' time. To make this trap and kill array so hidden and easy to control, it required at least a Xiantian weapon. According to his judgment, the Grand Essence Realm's defensive array had a Xiantian weapon. Now, there was another Xiantian weapon hiding here to form a hidden trap and kill array. How could he still have a chance to survive? Cold sweat trickled down Jae's back. He suddenly recalled that Ning Cheng had died in the Grand Change Realm but ended up appearing in the Grand Essence Realm. This person could have participated in the third round of the 5 Realms pill competition, but he didn't. How could he have thought that he could easily snatch something from this person? Ao Beijiang had harmed him, and it was because of Ao Beijiang's powerful reputation that he didn't consider these things. If Ning Cheng was so easy to deal with, why would Ao Beijiang think of him? Retreat. If he retreated now, he would still have a chance. If he didn't retreat now, he wouldn't even have a chance. Since Ning Cheng had arranged such a sinister hidden killing array, it meant that he definitely had a backup plan. The backup plan definitely wasn't the 2 million Dao court army. If it were him, he would have arranged a team of Dao court army that could sweep through this trap and kill Array. If he could think of this, how could he not think of Ning Cheng's sinister plan? Retreat. This time, Jays no longer cared about Ao Beijiang and Feng Xian. He frantically issued orders for the Luing Dao court army to retreat. Despite knowing that it was too late to retreat, Jays had no choice but to issue such an order. If they retreated at this time, some of the Dao court army would still have a chance. But if they retreated a little later, the Luing Dao court army wouldn't even have a scrap left. Boom boom boom. The terrifying killing aura in the space made Jays' heart sink to the bottom. Groups after groups of Grand Essence Realm cultivators rushed over from all directions. In the endless trap and kill array, just as he had imagined, there were countless people controlling this trap and kill array. Within the trap and kill array, the Grand Essence Realm's Dao court army could use the array to divide and kill the Luing Dao court army. As for the Luing Dao court army, not only were they bound by the array, but they also had to face the endless attacks of the Grand Essence Dao court army. At this time, the killing aura of the Luing Dao court army had already turned chaotic, and all the Dao court army's cultivators were in a mess. In the entire space, apart from the killing Dao charm aura, there was only blood mist and the sound of bones being torn apart. As a top-grade spirit array master, Jays was the first to notice that they were trapped by Ning Cheng's trap and kill array. Ao Beijiang and Feng Xian didn't notice it too late. The moment the two saw the Grand Essence Realm's hidden trap and kill array activate, they knew that the situation was hopeless. Their strength was far superior to ordinary cultivators. Not only could they see the changes in the Dao charm aura, but they could also clearly see the siege of the Grand Essence Realm's Dao court army. How could there be just 2 million Dao court army? In terms of numbers, it was definitely no less than the Luing Dao court army from the Grand Change Realm. In addition, there seemed to be 1 million Array Dao army controlling the trap and kill array. Moreover, they were in the center of the trap and kill array, where the killing aura was the strongest. Because they had rushed in together, it was too late to retreat now. Not to mention a first-step Array Dao Sacred Emperor, even a Dao Essence Sacred Emperor or a Primordial Chaos Sacred Emperor would be easily killed in this place. An individual's strength seemed insignificant under the superimposition of millions of killing Dao charm. The Grand Essence Realm only had about 20 Primordial Chaos Sacred Emperors, but with the help of the trap and kill array, they had a clear advantage on the battlefield. Dao charm, weapon radiance, talisman explosions, spirit essence collisions. At this moment, this place turned into an Azura hell. If it weren't for the fact that there were too many Primordial Chaos Sacred Emperors and Dao Essence Sacred Emperors in the Grand Change Realm, the battle might have already come to an end. Strength was indeed important, but in this place, strength only allowed them to persist a little longer. Feng Xian and Ao Beijiang wanted to kill Sha Sujuan, who played an absolute role in the array formation, but the two didn't dare. They knew that Shi Yiqing and Kang Xiushan were waiting on the side. Once they moved, they would immediately fall into a siege. At this moment, the two thought of retreating at the same time. They didn't even want to use their spirit techniques to kill more Grand Essence Realm's Dao court army. For them, staying here for even a moment longer meant more danger. What's going on? When Wan Yuheng, Huang Bei's, and the others appeared on the periphery of the Grand Essence Realm, they all looked at the tumbling void in the distance in shock. Waves of killing aura seeped out from it, mixed with the smell of blood. Not only that, but a large amount of blood mist also seeped out. Wan Yuheng and Huang Bei's were accompanied by more than 30 primordial chaos experts who had experienced the vicissitudes of life. They came here after coming out of the Perpetual Moon sect to help Ning Cheng. I understand. Ning Cheng is using the trap and kill array to strangle the people who invaded the Grand Essence Realm. Chu Man has said with a sigh. This method was truly powerful. She didn't go inside to see Ning Cheng's trap and kill array. Instead, she just looked at it from the outside. It wasn't something that could be arranged casually. The black and white bearded man standing next to Chu Manha also exclaimed, Dao friend Ning, this trap and kill array requires at least 100,000 people to arrange for several years to succeed. This trap and kill array drives the endless void's killing power, and it also uses a top-grade weapon as the array's core. It looks like Dao Friend Ning has already prepared for this. That's right, Dao Friend Ning is someone who plans ahead. Chapter 1145. Pu Mao, with a sparse beard and a sharp chin, laughed. I knew that Brother Ning Cheng would be fine. Think about it, just how powerful was the Perpetual Moon Holy Emperor? Even the Perpetual Moon Gate he arranged couldn't trap Brother Ning Cheng. What's the use of Feng Xian? The black and white beards shook his head. You can't say it like that. Dao Friend Ning has been to the Sea of Twilight, and even mastered the Time Spirit technique, Sunset's Twilight, which gave him the opportunity to break through the Perpetual Moon Gate. Otherwise, Dao Friend Ning would find it difficult to get out of the Perpetual Moon Gate. Then do we charge in right now, or what? Another Saint Emperor asked. The black-white beard man looked at the Grand Essence Realm's boundary-protecting Grand Array and praised again. Dao Friend Ning is truly amazing. You can even arrange this boundary-protecting Grand Array. We don't have to rush in now. The Grand Essence Realm has the absolute upper hand under Dao Friend Ning's leadership. Let's send a message to Dao Friend Ning and ask how we can support him. Before the black and white beards could send a message to Ning Cheng had already sent a message over. He was thanking the Dao Friends of the Perpetual Moon sect for coming over to help. This time, the Dao Court army of the Great Change Realm was trapped and did not need any help. After this battle, he would probably need everyone's help. Black White Beard and the others could already see that the Grand Essence Realm had the upper hand. Since Ning Cheng said that they didn't need to help for the time being, they naturally decided to watch the battle from the sidelines. Ning Cheng was very grateful in his heart. He did not think that an inadvertent action of his would make so many friends. For the primordial chaos holy emperors trapped in the Perpetual Moon Gate for tens of millions of years, they yearned for friendship. Once they recognized someone as a friend, they would do their best to help them. Primordial chaos sacred emperors were killed in the confinement killing array one after another. Only a few experts managed to escape the confinement killing array using top-notch talismans. Even with a Khanate Dharma treasure as the core of the trap and kill formation, it couldn't stop those top-notch escape talismans. At this time, the Grand Essence Realm's Dao Court's army's killing aura had already formed under the influence of Sha Su's array formation. The Luiying Dao Court's army didn't have any fighting spirit. They just wanted to get out of the entrapment array and escape from here. The less they wanted to fight, the more they collapsed. The blood mist and Dao runes fused together, causing the deathly aura within the confinement killing array to become even denser. Ning Cheng, who originally wanted to bring out the time wheel and the Seven Bridges spirit technique to help, didn't take any action at this moment. He was shocked that the power of the trap and kill array was so great, which was far beyond his expectations. Although he knew that luring all the Dao Court army of the Great Change Realm into the heart of the trap and kill array was much more effective than spreading them out and killing them separately. However, he hadn't expected such an effect. However, Ning Cheng was very clear that this effect could only be used once. If the Dao Court army of the Great Change Realm came again, he would not be able to lure all of them into the center of the trap and kill formation. As long as some of them were scattered outside, even if Sha Su led the army of the Dao Court to support him, he would not be able to achieve such a brilliant result. Feng Xian and Ao Beijiang both used their means to escape at the same time. Even Ao Beijiang's disciples also managed to escape, which made Ning Cheng feel helpless. Wanting to kill Feng Xian or Ao Beijiang was just too difficult. Unless he got Kong Xiushan and Shi Yiqing to join forces to deal with these two Dao integration cultivators, he wouldn't dare to do that. If Shui Ying hadn't gone through the degeneration, he would have killed one of them today. Not only could Shi Yiqing and Kong Xiushan not join forces to deal with one person, but they also couldn't attack at will. Their main task was to protect Sha Su. Although the Dao Court army of the Great Change Realm couldn't fight back against the Dao Court army of the Great Essence Realm, it was the Trap and Kill Array and Sha Su's Dao Array army that played the biggest role. Once Sha Su was killed, the situation would change immediately. Now that the two Dao integration cultivators had escaped, Shi Yiqing and Kong Xiushan were freed. Under their casual attacks, the primordial chaos sacred emperors trapped in the trap and kill array suffered heavy casualties. Although he couldn't stop Feng Xian and Ao Beijiang, Ning Cheng kept a close eye on Jesse. From beginning to end, this person had been commanding the battle. Moreover, he had already learned from Shuriqing that this person was Dao Lord Jesse of the Great Change Realm's Luiying Dao Court. Ao Beijiang was Mu Zuoxiao's master and had a high status in the Great Change Realm. Even if he had a high status, he couldn't order the Dao Court army to attack the Great Essence Realm. Since he couldn't order the Dao Court army to come to the Great Essence Realm, it was Jesse's own decision. There was no enmity between them, and Jesse had brought the Dao Court army to the Great Essence Realm. If he let this person go back, anyone could come to the Great Essence Realm in the future. Most of the primordial chaos sacred emperors could barely break out of the trap-killing formation and escape even if they were occasionally blocked. Some people even risked being strangled by the space and rushed into the chaotic space vortexes behind other people's spatial escape talismans. Some of the cultivators who rushed into the chaotic space vortexes were directly strangled by the space, while some were lucky enough to escape from the center of the trap and kill array. Jesse wasn't worried about escaping. His spatial escape talisman was much stronger than the spatial escape talismans of ordinary primordial chaos sacred emperors. When he saw that the Luiying Dao Court army could no longer retreat, Jesse almost crushed the bones in his hand. He secretly swore in his heart that if he didn't destroy the Great Essence Realm and kill Ning Cheng in this life, his sea of consciousness would explode and he would die. There was no deeper hatred than seeing millions of his Dao Court army die in front of him. He saw millions of the Luiying Dao Court army die in front of him. They turned into a blood mist, and countless essence spirits howled and rolled in the trap and kill array. But in the end, they still died. Primordial chaos sacred emperors, who had made countless contributions to his Dao Court army, also died tragically in front of him. In this super trap and kill array, which was commanded by millions of people and surrounded by millions of Grand Essence Realm soldiers, the Luiying Dao Court's Dao Court army could only be oppressed. This kind of hatred couldn't be washed away even if there were 3 rivers and 5 seas. I will be back. Jesse took in a deep breath and crushed the spatial escape talisman. A spatial force suddenly swept out from the center of the trap and kill array and bound his spatial escape talisman. The next moment, this spatial force hit his body. Not good, Jesse's soul dissipated. In this situation, if he still didn't know that Ning Cheng had targeted him, he wouldn't be worthy of being a Dao Court Lord. Jess didn't have any thoughts of finding trouble with Ning Cheng. With a wave of his hand, he brought out dozens of lights from his weapon. A tearing Dao light surged around him, isolating him from the spatial force binding him in an instant. However, before he could take the opportunity to use his escape talisman again, for forces that were not much inferior to his own bombarded him from all directions. The 4 spirit essences collided with the trap and kill array and created 4 vortexes. At the center of the 4 vortexes was the pale-faced Jesse. He understood that Ning Cheng was determined to kill him. Otherwise, Ning Cheng wouldn't have let 4 primordial chaos sacred emperors stop him from escaping. Jesse's face showed a trace of malevolence. If you want to kill me, you're still lacking something. At this moment, a red light appeared around him. If someone approached him, they would smell an extremely bloody aura from this red light. They would even feel the terrifying aura of Dao charm combined with the burning of one's lifespan. The 4 vortexes were stimulated by the red light and moved away. The spatial shackles loosened once again. In the middle of Jesse's spatial escape talisman, a terrifying force that tore through his sea of consciousness and ignored all spiritual consciousness defenses blasted over. This power was like a needle, and it directly blasted into Jesse's Zifu, and it instantly erupted with a kind of heaven-destroying and earth-exterminating power. Boom! Jesse felt a roar in his sea of consciousness, and his purple palace directly exploded. He had just brought out the spatial escape talisman when the light on it dimmed instantly. Endless darkness struck him, and Jesse suddenly remembered the oath he had made not long ago. Then, everything disappeared. Seeing that his dark consciousness explosion had killed Jesse, Ning Cheng also felt relieved. He raised his hand and took away Jesse's ring. 2 Dao integration realm experts and nearly 20 primordial chaos sacred emperors had escaped, while thousands of Dao essence and first step Dao confirming sacred emperors had risked their lives to rush into the spatial vortexes. Coupled with Jesse's escape, Ning Qing killed him. The Luing Dao Court's army and the experts who wanted to carve up the Grand Essence Realm to help the Boundless Palace didn't go. The Grand Change Realm's Luing Dao Court and the Boundless Palace invaded the Grand Essence Realm, and in the end, the Grand Essence Realm won. The Grand Essence Realm only paid a measly 10,000 casualties. 1 primordial chaos sacred emperor died, but they killed more than 30 primordial chaos sacred emperors, millions of Dao Court's army, and hundreds of thousands of miscellaneous cultivators. This battle shocked the entire void and spread throughout the 5 grand realms in the shortest time. It also spread to the major void cities at the fastest speed. Feng Xian hadn't even returned to the Boundless Palace when the Boundless Palace's army was annihilated. Only Feng Xian and a few others survived. Some cultivators who were still on their way to the Grand Essence Realm to help the Boundless Palace turned around and fled. The Limitless Palace and whatnot had long been completely forgotten by people. No matter what the outcome of this battle was, the Grand Essence Realm was the biggest winner. Millions of rings, and almost 1/10 of them belonged to Dao confirming sacred emperors, including dozens of primordial chaos sacred emperors. One could say that this battle had made the Grand Essence Realm overflowing with wealth. These people didn't come to rob the Grand Essence Realm but to deliver treasures. The Grand Essence Realm's celebration, rewards, and the establishment of the Grand Essence Merit Steel were all carried out in an orderly manner under the leadership of Li Feng and the others. Ning Qing accompanied 37 primordial chaos powerhouses who came to help and drank top-grade spirit wine. These 37 people were all contacted by Wan Yuheng and Huang Beis. Ning Qing sincerely thanked these people who came from afar to help. He picked up his wine glass and stood up before speaking up eagerly. Everyone, when you learned that I, Ning Qing, was in trouble, you all came from hundreds of millions of miles away to help. Ning Qing would like to thank you all here. Wu Lin chuckled, we didn't do much to come here. We just watched Dao friend Ning show off his divine might. You all killed millions of Dao Court's army with just a raise of your hand. It's truly impressive. In fact, Ning Qing didn't expect Wu Lin to come to help. One had to know that when he first arrived at the Perpetual Moon Sect, he fought against Wu Lin for the first time. After seeing his Sunset's Twilight Spirit technique, Wu Lin felt stimulated and retreated. Pang Yuan was almost the oldest among them. He also smiled and said, Wu Lin didn't say anything wrong. We came here to witness Dao friend Ning's strength. I didn't expect Dao friend Ning to reach the middle stage Dao Essence Realm in such a short time. This sentence was what everyone wanted to say. When Ning Qing met them, he only had a Dao Transformation Realm cultivation. In just a short time, Ning Qing had not only reached the Dao Essence Realm but also reached the middle stage Dao Essence Realm. This made everyone feel that they didn't help the wrong person. The more potential Ning Qing had, the more it showed that Ning Qing was worth helping. Ning Qing said sincerely, in fact, the next moment will be the most difficult time for me, and it's also the time when I need everyone's help. I'm sure that if the Grand Change Realm's experts came to the Grand Essence Realm, it wouldn't just be the Dao Court's army. There would even be several Dao Perfection experts. My hidden killing array can fool them once, but the second time, it can only be used as an ordinary trapping array. Chapter 1146. Chu Manhe snorted. It's a pity that I haven't recovered my strength. If I had, I would have killed a Dao integration cultivator in the Great Change Realm like an ant. Ning Qing thought to himself, this Chu Manhe really dares to speak. She's just a primordial chaos sacred emperor and a half-step Dao integration cultivator at best. Where does she get the confidence to kill Dao integration cultivators? However, he knew Chu Manhe's personality. This woman was extremely proud. Even when she studied the Perpetual Moon Gate's trap array, she studied it alone and never teamed up with others. The black and white bearded man smiled when he saw Ning Qing's expression. Daoist Ning, Daoist Chu is really qualified to say that. Almost all the Tao integration sacred emperors in the perpetual moon gate perished in the chaotic Tao runes under the perpetual moon abyss. If there is an exception, it would be Taoist Chu Manhe. Taoist Chu is a Tao integration expert? Ning Cheng looked at Chu Manhe in amazement. He had always thought that Chu Manhe was at most a half-step Tao integration expert, no matter how strong she was. He had never expected Chu Manhe to be a Tao integration expert. Chu Manhe said proudly, "If I hadn't gone to the perpetual moon gate, would Ji Fingyu have been able to catch me with his cultivation? I went to the perpetual moon gate voluntarily. I chose the perpetual moon gate to transcend the second Tao integration blight because I wanted to break the trap array during my weakened period. Unfortunately, I'm still a little bit short." Her first few words were filled with pride, but Chu Manhe's pride turned into a sigh. Choosing the perpetual moon gate to transcend the second Tao integration blight and wanting to break the trap array of the perpetual moon gate during the second Tao integration blight was indeed something to be proud of. Unfortunately, she didn't succeed in the end. Ning Cheng was pleasantly surprised and quickly changed the topic. "Taoist Chu and the other fellow Taoists, how can we restore our cultivation in the shortest time possible?" Chu Manhe spoke without any scruples and didn't know that her words were a little hurtful. Fortunately, everyone here came from the perpetual moon gate and their cultivation levels were lower than Chu Manhe's. Therefore, even if it was a little hurtful, no one said anything. Chu Manhe sighed and said, "If I can go to the seven-colored phoenix's nirvana flame spring, I can fully restore my strength in 5 years at most." Ning Cheng's heart suddenly moved when he heard this. Initially, he had heard from Xiang Dingtian that the seven-layered phoenix's nirvana flame spring and the five-clawed divine dragon's dragon washing pond could wash away the devilish contamination underground. He had cultivated in the dragon cleansing pool before, so he knew that the dragon cleansing pool could not only cleanse one's marrow and body, but it could also improve one's cultivation. It was highly possible that the Nirvana Flame Spring and the Dragon Cleansing Pond would have similar effects. Pang Yuan chuckled, "If there's a Nirvana Flame Spring, even my old bones can recover their cultivation." Ning Cheng made up his mind. These people had come from afar. If he couldn't even part with a mere Dragon Cleansing Pond, it would be too much of a waste. Moreover, the Dragon Cleansing Pool was given to him by Ba Meng. "Friends, although I'm a Tao Lord in the Grand Essence Realm, there's not much I can help you with. However, I have a place that was left behind by a five-clawed divine dragon." Ning Cheng's words had not yet finished, when more than a dozen people suddenly stood up. Although they came to help Ning Cheng, in fact, their cultivations had not yet recovered. If they had the five-clawed divine dragon's dragon cleansing pool, they could recover their cultivation perfectly and even wash away the filth in their bodies. "Tao friend Ning, do you really have a dragon cleansing pond?" Chu Manhe asked with a trembling voice. This thing was much better than the Nirvana Flame Springs. Ning Cheng nodded, "I really do have a dragon cleansing pond. Everyone, please follow me to the dragon cleansing pond to restore your cultivation. Once your cultivation recovers, if you're willing to stay within my grand essence boundary, I will be responsible for finding immortal caves for all of you. If you are willing to go far away, I, Ning Cheng, will always be your friend." Wu Lin stood up and waved his hand. "Tao friend Ning, since you came from the Perpetual Moon sect, I know that you are a forthright person." Tens of millions of divinity crystals were thrown out without batting an eyelid. Of course, tens of millions of spirit crystals were nothing in this place, but in the Perpetual Moon sect, it was a life-saving treasure. "Now, you can even tell us about the dragon cleansing pond and let us cultivate there. I, Wu Lin, have made friends with you. When my cultivation recovers, I will settle down in the Grand Essence Realm. And me, Yanbin Ji. I'm finished, Yu Heng." Not a single one was left behind. 37 holy emperors expressed their willingness to make friends with Ning Cheng at the same time. Ning Cheng grew happier. He knew that after Yu Heng sent out a message for help, the Perpetual Moon sect's holy emperors wouldn't just be these 37 people. Since these 37 people could come here, then they were all his friends. Since all of you can come here, then you are all my friends. Let's not delay and head to the dragon cleansing pond now. Ning Cheng also knew that time was of the essence. Although he had won the war in the Grand Essence Realm, The real crisis had just begun. The Grand Change Realm didn't send out the Tao Court Army. But once the Grand Change Realm sent out the Tao Court Army again, it would be a thunderous blow. He couldn't afford to take this risk. Therefore, preparing in advance was the only choice. While the Heaven Essence Sacred City was in a state of celebration, Ning Cheng took the 37 people to the Dragon Cleansing Pond in the depths of the Grand Essence Sea. It really is the Dragon Cleansing Pond of a 5-clawed divine dragon. The black and white bearded man looked at the huge misty pond in front of him and exclaimed. White mist lingered over the Dragon Cleansing Pond, and the surrounding spirit chi was extremely dense. Everyone was overjoyed. Seeing the Dragon Cleansing Pool meant that they would be able to recover their cultivation very soon. No one went down first. This place belonged to Ning Cheng. Since Ning Cheng brought them here, he would naturally let them go down and cultivate. But at least Ning Cheng had to speak first. This was the most basic form of respect. Dao friend Ning, have you ever thought about taking away this Dragon Cleansing Pond? Pang Yuan didn't wait for Ning Cheng to speak and asked first. Ning Cheng asked in surprise, can the Dragon Cleansing Pond be taken away? The black and white bearded man smiled. Ordinary people can't take it away, but we can take it away. The Dragon Cleansing Pond is condensed from an innate dragon pearl. As long as you can take away this innate dragon pearl, you can take away the Dragon Cleansing Pond. The prerequisite is that you have to put this dragon pearl into the real sea to recondense the Dragon Cleansing Pond. Ning Cheng thought that he already had a real sea. The sea in the mysterious yellow bead was slowly taking shape. As long as he put this innate dragon pearl into it, wouldn't he be able to recondense the Dragon Cleansing Pond? Thinking of this, Ning Cheng asked, Dao friend Blackwhite, how many innate dragon pearls are there in total? The reason why Ning Cheng asked this question was that he had obtained one from Man Sutin. He had placed this innate dragon pearl in the hidden killing array as the array core. Now that another one had appeared here, he naturally had to ask about it. The black and white bearded man explained, there are a total of 10 innate dragon pearls, and each of these 10 dragon pearls has a different function. However, there are countless branches of the dragon clan. Only the branch of the dragon clan with the innate dragon pearl can be considered as a true descendant of the dragon clan. The Dragon Cleansing Pond is a major reason why the 5-clawed divine dragon can become the #1 dragon clan and rule over all the other dragon clans. Then how can we take away the innate dragon pearl from the Dragon Cleansing Pond? Ning Cheng asked again. The black and white bearded man smiled. That's simple. As long as the 36 primordial chaos holy emperors occupy the position, we can dig out this innate dragon pearl. Ning Cheng finally understood what the black and white bearded man had said before. No wonder the black and white bearded man said that they could take away the dragon pearl. There were 37 primordial chaos holy emperors here, and Chu Manhe was even a Tao integration powerhouse. Taking away innate dragon pearl wouldn't be a big deal. Dao friend Ning, when our cultivation recovers, we will definitely work together to collect this innate dragon pearl and give it to you. A dark-faced late-stage primordial chaos holy emperor said with cupped fists. Ning Cheng knew that his name was Ting Xen and quickly thanked him with cupped fists. Many thanks, Dao friend Ting Xen. This matter isn't urgent. Let's wait until everyone's cultivation recovers. Everyone, please stay here and recover your cultivation. I will go to the Grand Essence Ruins Burial Shadow Blue Sand to handle some matters. I believe that when I return to Heaven Essence Sacred City, everyone should have recovered their cultivation. When the primordial chaos powerhouses heard Ning Cheng's words, they entered the Dragon Cleansing Pond and began to recover their cultivation. As for the Burial Shadow Blue Sand that Ning Cheng mentioned, they really didn't care about it. Heaven Essence Sacred City had already fallen into a sea of revelry. 2 Tao integration holy emperors and 1 Tao lord had led millions of Tao court troops to invade the Grand Essence realm. However, the Grand Essence realm's Tao court troops had beaten them to a pulp. Apart from less than 10,000 people who managed to escape, almost all of them died. Moreover, only 10,000 people died in the Grand Essence realm. In this battle, the Grand Essence realm obtained millions of rings. Even if many of the rings belonged to cultivators who hadn't reached Tao-confirming realm, they still couldn't afford to lose so many rings. With so many resources, the Grand Essence realm didn't even need to take out half a piece of spirit crystal to reward all the cultivators who participated in the battle. In the middle of Heaven Essence Sacred City's public square, another Grand Essence Merit Stele was erected. The Merit Stele was erected in the name of the Grand Essence Tao Court's Tao Lord. Therefore, Ning Cheng's name wasn't on it. But this time, the first place went to Sky Array Valley's sect master Sha Su. One could say that the reason why the Grand Essence Tao Court's army could defeat the invading enemy so easily, apart from Tao Lord Ning Cheng's control, was because of Sha Su's contribution. After Ning Cheng sent the Perpetual Moon Sect's reinforcements to the Dragon Cleansing Pond, he immediately returned to Heaven Essence Sacred City. Many of the rewards in Heaven Essence Sacred City needed him as a Tao Lord. What's more, after such a carefree battle in the Grand Essence realm, his position as a Tao Lord would become even more stable. Except for Jesse's ring, Ning Cheng didn't touch any of the spoils of war and placed them all in the Tao Court. After sorting them out, Ning Cheng sent them out. Ning Cheng took a look at Jesse's ring. It should contain a world. Ning Cheng didn't have time to refine this world. He had to hurry up and deal with the post-war matters before heading to the burial Shadow Blue Sand. As soon as Ning Cheng returned to Heaven Essence Sacred City, Li Feng handed him a ring. Tao Lord, we've sorted out a total of 163 top-grade spirit veins and 57,000 high-grade spirit veins from this battle. High-grade spirit veins are to be used as rewards for the Grand Essence Tao Court's army. You have 50 top-grade spirit veins in here. After our unanimous agreement, we decided to give them to you for cultivation and to arrange your Grand Essence Mountain Spiritual Gathering Array. You're a Tao Lord of the Grand Essence Realm. After this battle, you'll be as stable as Mount Tai. The faster your cultivation improves, the better. So, you can keep these spirit veins. Chapter 1147. Ning Cheng was taken aback when he heard more than 100 top-grade God Spirit veins. More than 50,000 high-grade God Spirit veins was nothing to him. War was the way to make money. This was the truth everywhere. Don't look at how a Tao Integration Holy Emperor casually took out 10 high-grade God Spirit veins. Ning Cheng knew very well that 10 high-grade God Spirit veins were definitely a top-notch wealth. Now that everyone agreed to give him 50, Ning Cheng didn't refuse and directly put them away. He really needed top-grade God Spirit veins. Otherwise, he wouldn't have participated in the 5 Realms Pill competition for a top-grade God Spirit vein. What Li Feng said was right. Improving his strength was the most important thing for him. Hundreds of millions of people gathered on the Heaven Essence Sacred City's public square. The boundless Heaven Essence public square seemed a little small at this time. When Ning Cheng appeared on the main altar of the public square, the entire Heaven Essence Sacred City burst into cheers. The title of Tao Monarch Ning Cheng spread out continuously, as if it would never stop. Everyone knew that without Tao Monarch Ning Cheng, the Grand Essence realm would have been reduced to rubble under the attack of millions of Tao Court army and 2 Tao Integration Holy Emperors. The Heaven Essence Sacred City would have also been razed to the ground. Some big sects might have survived, but many small sects would have disappeared from the Grand Essence realm. One could say that Ning Cheng arranged the Grand Essence realm's defensive array, established the Grand Essence Tao Court, and established the Grand Essence Tao Court army, saving the entire Grand Essence realm. Even the harshest people felt that Ning Cheng deserved such cheers. Perhaps Ning Cheng took the lead in establishing the Grand Essence realm's defensive array to protect himself. But who could guarantee that without Ning Cheng, another Grand Essence realm's Holy Emperor wouldn't offend a powerhouse and cause the Tao Court army to come to the Grand Essence realm? Ning Cheng also felt a little excited. He knew that he had finally gained the recognition of the vast majority of Grand Essence realm's cultivators and gained the status of a true Tao monarch. Ning Cheng raised his hand, and the cheers on the Heaven Essence Sacred City's public square instantly quieted down. Fellow Taoists of my Grand Essence realm, Feng Xian and Ao Beijiang, 2 Tao Integration Holy Emperors, led the Grand Simplicity Glazed Jade Dao Court army to destroy my Grand Essence realm. Fortunately, my Grand Essence realm was united and almost wiped out the Glazed Jade Dao Court army, saving our home. This glory and passion belongs to every cultivator of the Grand Essence realm. Every cultivator who died for the Grand Essence realm deserved supreme rewards and respect. We will send their souls into the cycle of reincarnation. Even if they can't be reincarnated, we will hand over their glory to the people around them. Whether or not the Grand Essence realm's laws will be restored in the future, we will always remember them. Even if Ning Cheng's words sounded tacky and didn't have the demeanor of a cultivator, it still inspired many cultivators to feel a sense of belonging to the Grand Essence realm, even though the battle in the Grand Essence realm had just ended. After another round of cheers, Ning Cheng continued, "This time, although my Grand Essence realm destroyed a Dao Court army, I believe this isn't the end. As my Grand Essence realm becomes more and more perfect, more and more people will covet this place. They want to use the Grand Essence realm as their back garden. They will come up with all kinds of rotten excuses to come back to my Grand Essence realm. As the Dao Lord of the Grand Essence realm, I will say the same thing. Tai Su is my home. If you want to come here and cause trouble, as long as I still have a drop of blood left, I will fight until the end. There are only bleeding cultivators in the Grand Essence realm, no cowards begging for mercy. There are only bleeding cultivators in the Grand Essence realm, no cowards begging for mercy. We will fight together with Dao Lord." Listening to the enthusiastic cheers, everyone understood that Ning Cheng, as Dao Lord Grand Essence, had been thoroughly acknowledged by the people of the Grand Essence realm. Outside the Grand Essence ruins burial shadow blue sand, this was Ning Cheng's second time coming here. After dealing with the matters of the Grand Essence Dao Court, he immediately left the Grand Essence domain and entered the Grand Essence ruins. Seeing the many figures coming and going in the Grand Essence ruins, Ning Cheng decided to abolish the Grand Essence ruins rule of entering the Grand Essence domain after he came out of the burial shadow blue sand. The Grand Essence domain was the place with the densest spirit chi in the Grand Essence realm. It was also a place with slightly more complete laws. However, many people couldn't enter the Grand Essence domain to cultivate in their entire lives. Since everyone was in the Grand Essence realm, it was unfair to some people. Standing outside the burial shadow blue sand, one could only see endless blue at a glance. The burial shadow blue sand, as always, tumbled like a blue ocean, with a sad beauty. Ning Cheng didn't hesitate. This time, he didn't even bring out the everlasting blue Thunder City and rushed into the burial shadow blue sand. As soon as he entered the burial shadow blue sand, a blue whirlpool swept over. These powerful blue whirlpools could even suck Ning Cheng away in the past. But now that they wrapped around Ning Cheng's body, they could only cause Ning Cheng's robes to flutter. These blue whirlpools looked like melted snowflakes. Ning Cheng knew that even if he grabbed them, they would quickly melt away. Ning Cheng's spirit essence stirred slightly, and a Dao charm domain formed a space around him. The blue quicksand hit the outside of this space and quickly disappeared without a trace. Not even a single grain could fall on Ning Cheng's body. Ning Cheng sighed at the increase in his strength. When he first came here, he had to be careful in the blue sand whirlpools. If he wasn't careful, he would get swept away by the whirlpools. But now, he could walk freely in it. The damage these whirlpools could do to him was almost zero. After entering the burial shadow blue sand, Ning Cheng's speed grew faster and faster. In just one day, he entered the depths of the burial shadow blue sand. The burial shadow blue sand was boundless. Even with Ning Cheng's middle stage Dao essence cultivation, he couldn't touch the edge and find Qi Shizingsing. The only thing he could do now was to go to the gray stone steel, kill it, and find the problem. Whether Qi Shizingsing's disappearance was caused by the gray stone steel or not, Lu Fanglin's appearance had something to do with the gray stone steel. With Ning Cheng's current strength, he didn't need to follow the map jade strip to find the gray stone steel. Instead, he swept out with his spiritual consciousness. When he used the spiritual consciousness chop in this place, his spiritual consciousness could only reach about 10,000 meters. At this time, even if he didn't use the spiritual consciousness chop, he could still sweep out to a distance of 100,000 meters. If he used his spiritual consciousness, he could even sweep out to a distance of 1,000,000 meters. Ning Cheng swept through a large area. But apart from a few sparse cultivators, Ning Cheng didn't see any gray stone steel. Ning Cheng swept through a huge blue vortex. But to Ning Cheng's surprise, his spiritual consciousness sensed an aura from this blue vortex. Ning Cheng was just about to rush over when the call of Thorns Umru arrived. This time, Ning Cheng saw it clearly. Thorns Umru came from that blue vortex. Some cultivators, on hearing Thorns Umru, immediately started running away. Ning Cheng didn't run away. Instead, he rushed towards the burial shadow demon. The first time he came here, he almost died at the hands of the burial shadow demon. Fortunately, he had the everlasting blue thunder fort, which blocked several attacks from the burial shadow demon. Sure enough, the burial shadow demon that called out Thorns Umru felt that Ning Cheng didn't run away and instead came towards it. Therefore, it screamed Thorns Umru and rushed towards Ning Cheng. A burial shadow demon that could call out Thorns Umru was quite powerful. Ning Cheng could easily kill an ordinary burial shadow demon when he was in the Dao sculpting realm. The last time he saw such a burial shadow demon, he had to bring out the Seven Bridges spirit technique. Lu Fenglin had to use a substandard Dao splitting bead to severely injure the burial shadow demon. This time, Ning Cheng didn't move. Instead, his spiritual consciousness swept towards the burial shadow demon. Last time, his spiritual consciousness could only see a ball and nothing else. But this time, Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness found a trace of spiritual soul aura within the burial shadow demon's body. In just a moment, the burial shadow demon rushed to Ning Cheng's side and opened its mouth to bite Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng didn't move. He didn't even take out the void cold light spear. Instead, he punched out. This punch contained the aura of his Taoist rhyme, and the surrounding blue vortex was instantly torn apart by this punch. The majestic spirit essence power fused with the Dao charm aura and slammed into the burial shadow demon's body. Creak! A shrill scream came from the burial shadow demon's body. Ning Cheng's violent punch instantly shattered the vortex of blue sand that wrapped around the burial shadow demon's body. A blue shadow rushed out. Unexpectedly, it didn't die. Instead, it staggered and tried to escape. Ning Cheng raised his hand and made a few hand gestures, causing a virtual space to appear in an instant. The blue shadow that wanted to escape did not resist at all as Ning Cheng wrapped it up and threw it into a jade box. Immediately after, he sealed it with several restrictions. Apart from the Dao charm aura left behind by Ning Cheng's punch, there was nothing else around. Ning Cheng couldn't help but sigh. The burial shadow demon, which had almost killed him before, had been easily killed by him. Ning Cheng vaguely felt that this burial shadow demon wasn't just a simple spiritual soul body. His spiritual consciousness swept into the sealed burial shadow demon. Ning Cheng was surprised to find that the burial shadow demon he sealed had disappeared. Apart from a few grains of blue sand, there was nothing inside the jade box. Ning Cheng felt sure that his seal wouldn't have any problems. With his attainments in the Tao of Arrays, even if he sealed a primordial chaos holy emperor, it wouldn't disappear in such a short time. This was too strange. Just when Ning Cheng wanted to take a look at the remaining grains of sand, a sharp murderous intent came from behind him. The everlasting blue thunder fort moved at will and directly blocked behind him. Boom! With an explosion, several lightning bolts and flames splashed out. When the blue sand vortex in the distance met these flames, it directly turned into a vacuum of nothingness. Ning Cheng had just seen a man in a dark red robe sneak attack him when thousands of fire spear patterns shot out from the man's body. The Dao charm of the fire spear patterns swept towards Ning Cheng. At this moment, Ning Cheng felt like he was in a world of fire. In this world, there were no other laws, only flames. This was the manifestation of a flame spirit technique reaching its peak. Chapter 1148. Playing with Fire? Ning Cheng snickered. The celestial river flame had already started pulsing, apparently wanting to devour all these flames. Flame devour didn't mean that a high-grade flame could devour a low-grade flame. Only when the difference between the two flames reached a certain degree, or when one of the flames was heaven-defying to a certain degree, could it easily devour the other flame. At this moment, the flames around Ning Cheng formed a sea of fire. Endless fire-patterned spears wrapped around Ning Cheng's everlasting blue thunder fort. The sea of fire continued to split into fire-patterned spears and poured into the everlasting blue thunder fort. Ning Cheng immediately felt sure that this was a god-grade flame. Moreover, it was a god-grade flame with a strong offensive power. However, Ning Cheng didn't immediately fight back. He felt that this red-robed man looked a little familiar. The red-robed man looked at his sea of fire spear patterns bombarding the everlasting blue thunder fort and devouring the thunder over the blue thunder fort. However, Ning Cheng didn't move. He understood that Ning Cheng couldn't do anything to his flames. His sea of fire continued to heat up, and the number of fire-patterned spears attacking Ning Cheng's everlasting blue thunder fort kept increasing. In addition to the fire-patterned spears, a flaming blade began to form. Your spirit technique is a sea of fire? What's your relationship with Ding Si? When I killed Ding Si, I got a spoil of war called Blade Mountain. Ning Cheng suddenly asked. The red-robed man ground his teeth. Today, I came to avenge Ding Si. Remember, when you become a burial shadow demon in the future, don't forget that it was Ding San who helped you. As the red-robed man's voice fell, the sea of fire wrapped around Ning Cheng finally turned violent, forming endless waves of fire that swept towards Ning Cheng. The laws of space contained only fire-attributed laws. Therefore, the attack formed from the laws of living attribute instantly wrapped around Ning Cheng and the everlasting blue thunder fort. Ning Cheng shook his head. Even an early-stage Tao Essence cultivator wanted to help him. Had this fellow never gone out before? Or did he think that he was the king in the burial shadow blue sand? In fact, Ning Cheng wasn't wrong. In the burial shadow blue sand, not many people could have such a powerful spiritual consciousness like him. The overwhelming flames rushed over. Ning Cheng raised his hand and brought out the celestial river flame while casting a law-breaking spirit technique. The surrounding fire-attributed laws instantly weakened, and various elemental laws flooded in, weakening the volcano. The celestial river flame gave out an excited cry and turned into a giant blue mouth. The giant mouth was like an enhanced version of a vacuum cleaner, sucking away all the endless flames that trapped Ning Cheng. The red-robed man at the periphery watched in shock as the flames turned into a fire dragon and were swept away by the Milky Way, dumbfounded. After a while, he murmured in shock, "This is the sacred flame galaxy." The scarlet-robed man no longer cared about killing Ning Cheng, nor did he care about his flames, as he quickly turned around and madly retreated. An ice-cold spear shadow cut through the void and pierced through his glabella, followed by Ning Cheng's voice. Are you going to be like Ding Si and tell me that I can't kill you, and that if I kill you, I will die without a burial? Ding San looked at Ning Cheng's void cold light spear and did not speak up from the beginning to the end. With a twist of Ning Cheng's void cold light spear, Ding San's corporeal body directly exploded, while his life essence also disappeared without a trace. Back then, Ding Si's origins were mysterious. This Ding San was just as mysterious as Ding Si. Moreover, both of them appeared after the burial shadow demons. One's weapon was a blade mountain, while the other had a sea of fire. Coupled with Ding San saying that he wanted to turn him into a burial shadow demon, Ning Cheng guessed that the burial shadow demons in this place were artificially created. Through the cultivator's life essence, through many means, one could fuse it into a burial shadow demon. The only thing that Ning Cheng could not understand was that the burial shadow blue sand, which seemed to be real and illusory at the same time. Putting away the celestial river flame, Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness continued to sweep through the burial shadow blue sand. In the burial shadow blue sand, even a primordial chaos holy emperor would not be as powerful as him. In this place, other people's spiritual consciousness would be affected, but his spiritual consciousness would remain unaffected. In addition to the spiritual consciousness cultivation method, Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness tempering in the perpetual moon abyss also played a crucial role. Although the blue sand vortex in the burial shadow blue sand was strong, it could not compare to the violent Tao charm that cut through one's sea of consciousness in the perpetual moon abyss. The burial shadow demons here seemed to recognize Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng had once slaughtered them in this place. Now that Ning Cheng was rampaging through the burial shadow blue sand, the burial shadow demons sensed Ning Cheng and immediately avoided him. For them, Ning Cheng did not belong to the Thorns Umbra. However, Ning Cheng killed the burial shadow demons everywhere. For these burial shadow demons to exist in this place, someone must have specially raised them. It was just like how Ding San and Ding Si had a relationship with the burial shadow demons. As long as he killed enough burial shadow demons, someone would come out to look for him. A few days passed by in a flash, but Ning Cheng still could not find the gray-colored stone steel. He could only focus on killing the burial shadow demons in the burial shadow blue sand. No matter how fast the burial shadow demons were, they could not hide from Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness. In just a few days, Ning Cheng had killed 6 burial shadow demons with the name Thorns Umru. This was the 7th burial shadow demon that Ning Cheng had seen. This burial shadow demon felt very interesting. After seeing Ning Cheng, it did not flee. Instead, it crazily rushed in a certain direction. In addition, Ning Cheng also noticed something different about this burial shadow demon. The other burial shadow demons were wrapped in a mass of blue sand. When one's spiritual consciousness swept in, they could only see a vague shadow, just like an essence spirit. However, this burial shadow demon seemed to be wrapped in a mass of blue quicksand. When one's spiritual consciousness seeped in, one could vaguely see a complete humanoid figure. Not only that, but the blue quicksand wrapping around this burial shadow demon was also several times larger than the other burial shadow demons. Within the burial shadow blue sand, Ning Cheng's speed was extremely fast. However, this burial shadow demon's speed was not any slower than Ning Cheng's. With such a huge body made of blue sand, it moved quickly within the burial shadow blue sand. What made Ning Cheng even more puzzled was that when this burial shadow demon rushed to the side of another burial shadow demon, it suddenly blasted out several lightning arcs. These lightning arcs turned out to be incredibly powerful. When they struck the other burial shadow demon immediately disintegrated and dissipated. Compared to Ning Cheng's burial shadow demons, these lightning arcs did not pale in comparison. These lightning arcs contained a terrifying tearing Dao charm power, which gave Ning Cheng a feeling of shock. Ning Cheng had a thunder-attributed spiritual root and had seen many kinds of lightning arcs. However, he had never seen such terrifying lightning arcs. Moreover, this was just a casual attack. If the two of them faced off against each other, these lightning arcs would definitely be a huge killing tool. Was it not a burial shadow demon? Ning Cheng sped up again, and at the same time, a storm of dark consciousness swept towards the burial shadow demon in front of him. This burial shadow demon immediately felt Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness invading it. Its huge body suddenly trembled, and several lightning arcs shot towards Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng looked sluggish as he let the lightning arcs hit him. The powerful tearing Dao charm of the lightning arcs tore through his clothes and even left several bloody marks on his body. He recognized the huge sphere wrapped in the blue quicksand. It was Qi Shixingsing. Qi Shixingsing seemed to have some differences from the other burial shadow demons. If this continued, Ning Cheng felt sure that Qi Shixingsing would become a real burial shadow demon sooner or later. What shocked Ning Cheng even more was that Qi Shixingsing was already a Dao transformation holy emperor. When he and Qi Shixingsing separated, Qi Shixingsing was only a Dao sculpting cultivator. How long has it been? Ning Cheng knew that the reason he could advance to the Dao essence realm so quickly was mainly due to the help of his growth rings. Qi Shixingsing didn't have any growth rings in the burial shadow blue sand. Moreover, even if Qi Shixingsing advanced to the Dao transformation realm, he couldn't injure him with 2 random lightning arcs. From this, Ning Cheng understood that Qi Shixingsing's lightning arcs were by no means ordinary. Ning Cheng immediately thought back to when Qi Shixingsing came to the Grand Essence ruins to look for the Grand Essence Spirit Thunder. Did Qi Shixingsing bring out the grand essence spirit thunder just now? Two random lightning arcs, even without him realizing it, could injure a middle-stage Dao essence cultivator. Just how strong was this grand essence spirit thunder? Just as Ning Cheng's thoughts turned, Qi Shixingsing had already gone far away. Ning Cheng quickly sped up and chased after him. At the same time, he condensed his voice and shouted, "Qi Shixingsing." Qi Shixingsing, who was running away, seemed to feel Ning Cheng's call and paused. Ning Cheng felt overjoyed. Since Qi Shixingsing could still remember this name, it meant that he hadn't completely lost his mind. Just as Ning Cheng sped up and rushed towards Qi Shixingsing, ready to tie up Qi Shixingsing and take him away, Qi Shixingsing sped up again and rushed forward. But before Ning Cheng could speed up to stop Qi Shixingsing, a mountain-like gray stone tablet suddenly appeared where Qi Shixingsing had just stood and stopped Ning Cheng. There was nothing behind the gray stone tablet, and Qi Shixingsing had disappeared without a trace. Ning Cheng stopped. He didn't know why Qi Shixingsing hadn't completely turned into a burial shadow demon after struggling for decades in here. But he knew that Qi Shixingsing's changes most likely had something to do with the gray stone tablet. Even the burial shadow demons in the entire burial shadow blue sand had something to do with this stone tablet. Bringing out the void cold light spear, Ning Cheng shot it towards the gray stone tablet. A violent and majestic force immediately rushed towards Ning Cheng. This force was several times more powerful than Ning Cheng's spear attack. Ning Cheng ended up suffering a backlash from this extremely powerful force, causing his entire person to tumble backwards, causing his heart to churn violently. Ning Cheng didn't continue to attack the gray stone tablet. Instead, he called out Lu Fanglin. When Lu Fanglin saw the gray stone tablet in front of her, anger flared up in her eyes. "Brother Ning, this is the stone tablet. Have you found it?" Ning Cheng asked in a deep voice. "Junior apprentice Sister Fanglin, what else did you see when you first saw Qi Shixingsing in the burial shadow blue sand? Did he have blue quicksand outside his body? Did it even wrap around him and give him the appearance of a burial shadow demon?" Lu Fanglin calmed down and recalled it for a while before speaking. "I remember that there was some blue sand flowing around him. At that time, I thought that it was normal to have blue sand flowing around one's body in the burial shadow blue sand. But now that I think about it, he really did have a thin layer of blue sand around him." Ning Cheng nodded and spoke to the gray stone tablet in a cold voice. "I don't care what you are doing, but Qi Shixingsing is my brother. You have to bring him out immediately. Otherwise, I will lead the Grand Essence Dao Court's army to trample over the burial shadow blue sand, and the burial shadow blue sand will become history in the Grand Essence ruins." As Ning Cheng's voice fell, the gray stone tablet suddenly erupted with a violent blue vortex. This blue vortex then swept towards Ning Cheng and Lu Fanglin. Ning Cheng's expression changed. He didn't expect that the gray stone tablet would not only not release Qi Shixingsing but also take away Lu Fanglin. Chapter 1149. The void cold light spear shot out in a flash, creating countless ripples of Dao patterns. Ning Cheng's Dao charm power collided with the blue vortex, creating a huge vacuum space. Lu Fanglin felt her body lighten, and her entire body flew out before landing next to Ning Cheng. The gray steel blocking Ning Cheng's path also disappeared without a trace at this time. The place where the steel disappeared was the huge gully created by the Dao charm impact. Ning Cheng looked at the huge gully with a gloomy expression. He knew very well that with his current strength, it would be difficult to kill the gray steel in the burial shadow blue sand. In the burial shadow blue sand, the power of the gray steel couldn't do anything to him, and he couldn't do anything to the gray steel. Lu Fanglin's expression also turned ugly. The disappearance of the gray steel meant that she would have to continue to suffer the pain of the void draining her blood. Ning Cheng understood Lu Fanglin's thoughts. He raised his hand and grabbed Lu Fanglin's wrist and said, "I'll help you see what the gray steel planted in your body." Although he couldn't do anything to the gray steel, it didn't mean that Ning Cheng couldn't help Lu Fanglin. No matter how strong the gray steel was, it couldn't stop his spiritual consciousness from inspecting Lu Fanglin. Lu Fanglin nodded. She regretted not letting Ning Cheng inspect her earlier. If she had let Ning Cheng inspect her earlier, she might not have suffered so much and wouldn't have to embarrass herself in front of Ning Cheng. No woman would want their skinny body to be examined by others. At this moment, she had a good understanding of her body. The grace she had in the past had long since disappeared, leaving behind only dry bones and blackened skin. Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness was so powerful that only peak-level primordial chaos holy emperors could match it. His spiritual consciousness instantly swept through Lu Fanglin's body. In a short time, he found a faint shadow in Lu Fanglin's Zifu. This shadow was similar to the burial shadow demon, and ordinary spiritual consciousness couldn't find it. Ning Cheng even suspected that if Lu Fanglin had let him inspect her back then, he might not have found this faint shadow. This faint shadow hid in the depths of Lu Fanglin's sea of consciousness. It carried the aura of power of hope and a bloody smell. Ning Cheng did not greet Lu Fanglin. Instead, a few spiritual consciousness blades twisted around Lu Fanglin's sea of consciousness, causing Lu Fanglin to let out a pitiful scream. Immediately, a faintly discernible shadow emerged from Lu Fanglin's sea of consciousness and was sent into a jade box, while simultaneously placing several restrictions on it. Ning Cheng put the jade box in his hand and sent a message to the celestial river flame. A flame immediately swept over and took away the jade box. "Burn it for me, but don't burn it all at once." After Ning Cheng told the celestial river flame, he took out a few medicinal pills and put them directly into Lu Fanglin's mouth. Lu Fanglin, who was howling miserably, instantly calmed down. Her gray hair turned jet black at a speed visible to the naked eye, and her skinny body gradually filled out. After the time it took for an incense stick to burn, Lu Fanglin had already recovered 60% of her original appearance. "It's all right. I've helped you get rid of the threat in your sea of consciousness. As long as you have a few more years to recuperate, you will return to your original state. This gray steel can no longer absorb your essence blood, and it can no longer control your will to worship it." Ning Cheng looked at Lu Fanglin's transformation and comforted her with a few words. Lu Fanglin gave an sound and spoke up, "Senior apprentice Brother Ning, I want to join your mysterious yellow sect and stay in the Grand Essence Mountains to cultivate." Ning Cheng guessed that Yanji must have told her about the mysterious yellow sect, but he didn't care about it. "Of course, when things are over here, you can stay in the Grand Essence Mountains to cultivate. But for now, you can enter the true spirit world. I want to destroy this thing." Lu Fanglin, on hearing Ning Cheng's words, asked in disbelief, "But I can't keep that gray steel." Although she spoke tactfully, what she really meant was that with Ning Cheng's current cultivation, it was almost impossible for him to destroy the steel. Ning Cheng showed a smile and said, "Don't worry, I have a way." After saying that, he directly sent Lu Fanglin into the true spirit world. Lu Fanglin had just disappeared when a shrill scream came from the depths of the endless burial shadow blue sand. Then, a Dao charm aura burst out in the distance. Ning Cheng secretly felt happy in his heart. Even if he couldn't destroy the steel now, the celestial river flame could burn away the blood-soul spiritual sense left by the steel in Lu Fanglin's sea of consciousness. It was enough to make this stone eat a big pot. After taking care of the steel, Ning Cheng didn't continue to stay in the burial shadow blue sand. After coming out of the burial shadow blue sand, he directly sent out a Dao Lord command to Li Feng. It wasn't just the burial shadow blue sand that angered him. More importantly, he had to rescue Qi Shizingsing as soon as possible. He was also a Dao Lord of the Grand Essence Dao Court. This time, he mobilized 5 million troops from the Dao Court. Even if it took a few years, he wanted the burial shadow blue sand to disappear from the Grand Essence ruins. This was one of the 5 forbidden areas of the Grand Essence realm. From now on, he would never see it again. If it were before the war with the Grand Change realm, Ning Cheng would never mobilize the Dao Court's army to destroy the burial shadow blue sand. But he also knew that even if he did this, he wouldn't be able to mobilize the Grand Essence Dao Court's army. He might be able to mobilize the Grand Essence Dao Court's army to deal with the invasion of foreign enemies. But he couldn't mobilize them to come to the Grand Essence ruins to work for him. When Ning Cheng's Dao Lord Command token arrived at the Heaven Essence Sacred City, Li Feng immediately summoned the sect masters of the major sects and the 10 court pillars to discuss the deployment of the army. Court Pillar Li, I don't think this is appropriate. When Li Feng issued Ning Cheng's Dao Lord Command token, the first one to stand up and oppose it was Profound Moon Spirit Gate's sect master Fei Feng. He was also one of the 10 court pillars of the Dao Court. Oh, why does Court Pillar Fei feel that it's inappropriate? Li Feng asked calmly. Fei Feng cupped his fists towards Li Feng and then walked around with cupped fists before speaking with a solemn voice. The main purpose of the Grand Essence Realm's Dao Court Army is to maintain the safety of the Grand Essence Realm. In other words, it's to resist foreign enemies. Dao Lord Ning also said that although we defeated the invading Luing Dao Court Army, no one can guarantee that the Grand Change Realm's Dao Court Army won't come back. At this point, Fei Feng paused, and his tone turned even more solemn than before. If our Dao Court Army leaves the Heaven Essence Sacred City for Dao Lord's personal matters, what if the Grand Change Realm invades? The Dao Court Army can't disregard the public for private reasons. Dao Lord Ning is the pillar of our Grand Essence Realm. He shouldn't go to a dangerous place like the Burial Shadow Blue Sand. What if something happens? For the safety of our Grand Essence Realm, and for the safety of Dao Lord Ning, I don't recommend sending the Dao Court Army to the Burial Shadow Blue Sand. Li Feng nodded. Well, Court Pillar Fei's words aren't unreasonable. Is there anyone else who disagrees or shares the same opinion? To everyone's surprise, 9 Revolving Sacred Dao Pon's sect Master Dai Fu stood up and said, I agree with Court Pillar Fei's opinion. The Grand Essence Dao Court Army is here to protect the Grand Essence Realm. We can't casually send them to the Grand Essence Ruins, let alone the Burial Shadow Blue Sand. In a place like the Burial Shadow Blue Sand, even a primordial chaos holy emperor would most likely die. Many of the Grand Essence Dao Court Army's cultivators have yet to reach Dao Confirming Realm. I'm afraid that going to that place would only result in death. Everyone knew that 9 Revolving Sacred Dao Pon's Shi Iching supported Ning Cheng. But they didn't expect 9 Revolving Sacred Dao Pon's Dai Fu to put forward the opposite opinion. I, Zhu Fanghen, firmly disagree with Court Pillar Fei and that Court Pillar Fei. What is a Dao Lord? Since Ning Cheng is a Dao Lord of my Grand Essence Dao Court, he should have the right to mobilize any Dao Court Army. If he can't even mobilize the Dao Court Army, then what kind of Dao Lord is he? Grand Essence Pill Association's law protector Zhu Fanghen was the first to stand up and refute. I, Bei Caixia, support sending the army to the Grand Essence Ruins to respond to Dao Lord Ning. The Pill Association's second primordial chaos Holy Emperor stood up and expressed his stance. Unfortunately, neither Bei Caixia nor Zhu Fanghen had any military power, so they could only protest. Li Feng inadvertently frowned slightly. But just as he was about to continue speaking, Sha Su, who was sitting on the 10th court pillar, suddenly stood up. My 10th Dao Court Army supports Dao Monarch Ning Cheng. Wherever Dao Monarch's token points, my 10th Dao Court Army will fight. The main members of every Dao Court Army were the pillars of their sections. Therefore, every Dao Court Army was basically controlled by the leader. Sha Su's 10th Dao Court Army was almost entirely composed of array formation masters. This was also the Dao Court Army that Ning Cheng valued the most. In fact, when Sha Su destroyed the Glazed Mist Dao Court Army, he made the greatest contribution. Sha Su also trusted Ning Cheng the most. Not only did Ning Cheng promote his Sky Array Valley to the top 10 sects, but he also taught him many array Dao profundities. More importantly, Ning Cheng had a kind of prestige in Sha Su's heart. This prestige made Sha Su not only admire Ning Cheng but also submit to him. Now that Ning Cheng issued an order in the name of a Dao Lord, even if his cultivation was the lowest and he wasn't even a primordial chaos holy emperor, he was the first to stand up and support Ning Cheng. Even if the other 9 great Dao Court armies did not come out, they would not be able to stop his Celestial Array Valley Dao Court Army. My 7th Dao Court Army supports the Dao Lord's decree. As long as the Dao Lord's decree is issued, I can bring 1,000,000 Dao Court Army into the Grand Essence Ruins at any time. Flaming Feather Spirit Mountain's sect Master Pring Chiyuan was the second to stand up and express his stance. Immediately after, Sunken Fish Palace's Palace Master Luan, Desolate God Palace's Sect Master Xiao Luojin, and 7-Star Sacred Shrine's Vice Sect Master Mu Yuankong also stood up and expressed their willingness to join the army. Looking at River Luo Sacred Sect's Sect Master Wang Huazhong and Silver Dragon Clan's Patriarch Gong Wu, who were still hesitating, Li Feng took the initiative to interrupt their hesitation and said, Dao Lord said that only 5 million Dao court troops can go to the Grand Essence ruins. In that case, Court Pillar Sha, Court Pillar Peng, Court Pillar Xiao, Court Pillar Luan and Court Pillar Mu will lead the 5 armies to the Grand Essence ruins burial Shadow Blue Sand. As for the other 5 Dao court armies, they will continue to stay in Heaven Essence Sacred City to defend against any external enemies. To be honest, Li Feng was already relieved that the 5 great Dao court armies were willing to go. If he did not have the 5 million Dao court soldiers, he would probably have to bring the Dao court army with him. Once he went, Heaven Essence Sacred City would lose a confidant of Ning Cheng. Li Feng wholeheartedly helped Ning Cheng because he firmly believed that the Grand Essence realm could prosper in Ning Cheng's hands. In any case, he would never allow anyone to drag Ning Cheng down. Chapter 1150. Ao Beijiang was definitely one of the super experts in the Great Change realm. Perhaps Ao Beijiang's strength could not be ranked in the top 10 of the Great Change realm, but there was one thing about him that no one could compare to. He was very good friends with the Great Change realm's realm lord, Yin Xingwen. In addition, he had a disciple, Mu Zuoxiao, who was the leader of the Tai Pill Gathering and the initiator of the 5 Realms Pill competition. Ao Beijiang's name was like the rising sun in the Tai Pill Gathering. Because of this, Ao Beijiang's cave abode was also a famous location of God's spiritual qi in the Great Change realm. At this moment, Ao Beijiang was sitting in his cave abode with a wretched look on his face. He did not have the slightest bit of joy that a peak-grade paradise should have. Opposite him sat the Great Change Pill Association Master, who was also Ao Beijiang's disciple, Mu Zuoxiao. Mu Zuoxiao looked like a youth, but in fact his cultivation level was already at the half-step Dao integration realm. He just needed one more step to succeed in Dao integration. After a long time, Ao Beijiang let out a long sigh. I didn't think that a mere pill saint would be so difficult to deal with. He used a hidden death trap array to annihilate the millions of soldiers of the glazed Ying Dao court. Even Dao monarch Jesse wasn't able to escape. If I didn't see it with my own eyes, I definitely wouldn't believe it. Mu Zuoxiao hesitated before speaking. Master, if I didn't guess wrong, Ning Cheng deliberately chose not to participate in the 3rd round of the 5 Realms Pill competition. This person's schemes run deep, it's really hard to fathom. Ao Beijiang nodded. I've long guessed that he didn't participate in the 3rd round of the competition on purpose. I just didn't expect him to be this scheming. He used hundreds of thousands of alchemists and spent several years to set up a defense array. He even hid a trap-killing array with a Khanate treasure array core in the defense array. Master, what do you plan to do? Although Mu Zuoxiao did not want to participate in this meaningless fight, he was helpless as Ao Beijiang had taught him. Ao Beijiang's expression darkened even further. I'm a Dao integration stage Holy Emperor, yet I was ambushed by a mere Dao essence ant. If I can't get my revenge, my path will end here. If we want revenge, we can only contact the other Dao courts. At this point, Ao Beijiang shook his head. I don't think I have to take the initiative to contact the other Dao courts. Very soon, the Realm Lord and the Dao Lords of the other Dao courts will invite me. With such a huge incident happening in the Grand Change realm, it would be strange if the Realm Lord and the Dao Lords didn't invite him over for a cup of tea. Sure enough, before Mu Zuoxiao could answer, a red light landed in front of Ao Beijiang. Ao Beijiang's spiritual force scanned the red light before he stood up and said, Zuoxiao, come with me to the Great Change Realm's main mountain. The most famous treasured land in the Grand Change Realm was not the 5 major Dao courts, nor was it the seclusion of the Dao integration experts. It was the Realm Lord Peak. The World Lord Peak was the place where the World Lord of the Supreme Change World resided. Only when something major happened would the World Lord Peak invite people in. Those who could be invited by the Realm Lord were either Dao integration experts, Dao lords of the various Dao courts, or sect masters of top-tier sections. Ao Beijiang knew that the reason why the Realm Lord Yin Xingwen had summoned him was definitely because of the huge loss he had caused by invading the Grand Simplicity realm. However, he wasn't too worried. Yin Xingwen was one of his close friends after all, so he definitely wouldn't embarrass him. When Ao Beijiang brought Mu Zuoxiao into the guest hall of the World Lord Peak, his expression changed slightly. The first person he saw was a Dao Integration's Sacred Emperor. The reason he noticed this Dao Integration Sacred Emperor was because of that sharp killing intent. He knew this Dao Integration's Sacred Emperor. He was the #1 guardian of the Luiying Dao Court, Dao Integration Chu Bai. Chu Bai's strength wasn't inferior to Ao Beijiang's. He just didn't like to be in the limelight. Beside Chu Bai, there was a late-stage primordial Dao man. He was also tall and burly and looked somewhat similar to Jess. "Brother Beijiang, you're here? Please take a seat." Yin Xingwen, who was sitting at the seat of honor, greeted him politely, giving Ao Beijiang some confidence. There were only a dozen people sitting in the guest hall. Ao Beijiang knew how powerful these dozen people were in the Grand Change realm. The Dao monarchs of the 5 great Dao courts had all come. Apart from the Dao monarchs of the 5 great Dao courts, the sect masters of the 3 major sects had also come. After Ao Beijiang and Mu Zuoxiao sat down, besides Yin Xingwen, no one else greeted Ao Beijiang. Yin Xingwen had no choice but to speak again. "Brother Beijiang, can you explain what happened this time? Why did the Luiying Dao Court mobilize the Dao Court army to besiege the Grand Essence realm? The entire army was wiped out, and even Dao monarch Jess died in the Grand Essence realm." Although Yin Xingwen and the others knew that the Luiying Dao Court army had left the Grand Change realm for the Grand Essence realm, Ao Beijiang still had to explain it clearly. Ao Beijiang cupped his fists and said in a low voice, "This time, the Luiying Dao Court army suffered heavy losses, which is related to our carelessness. As for the main reason for mobilizing the Dao Court army, it's because the Grand Essence Realm's Ningcheng took advantage of our Grand Change Realm's pill competition to sneak into the underground abyss. He broke the seal and restrictions of the underground abyss, causing the demonic creatures in the underground abyss to erupt." Everyone nodded because Ao Beijiang's words weren't wrong. The underground abyss did erupt after Ningcheng disappeared. Even now, the Grand Change realm could barely suppress the demonic creatures in the underground abyss. To completely suppress them, it would require a lot of materials and the efforts of array formation masters. However, no one believed that Ao Beijiang really went to the Grand Change realm to find Ningcheng because of this matter. Everyone knew what kind of person Ao Beijiang was. Ao Beijiang continued, "In addition, that Ningcheng also took away my Grand Change realm's top-grade treasure, the World Mountain." Ao Beijiang's words were like a deep water bomb thrown out, causing everyone to stare at him in shock. Even Yin Xingwen stared at Ao Beijiang with bright eyes. Everyone here naturally knew what the World Mountain was. Ao Beijiang, on seeing that his words finally had an effect, secretly breathed a sigh of relief. As for the World Mountain, to be honest, he found it on the seal pillar that trapped Shi. Back then, he couldn't find Ningcheng in the underground abyss and could only look for the few people who escaped. If he wanted to find Shi, he could only look for Shi-Er's remnant aura. Shi-Er didn't leave any aura on the seal pillar but left a line of words on it. Shallow Cloud Villa, Father's World Mountain. In fact, he later went to the Shallow Cloud Villa but didn't find the World Mountain. "Are you sure Ningcheng took the World Mountain?" Yin Xingwen's tone carried a hint of excitement. If it was the World Mountain, then it would be normal for Ao Beijiang to encourage Jess to join the Dao Court army. Facing the World Mountain, no Dao fusion powerhouse could ignore it. Ao Beijiang spoke with certainty. "Yes, it's the World Mountain. Later, I met Feng Xian of the Boundless Palace, and Ningcheng took away Feng Xian's mountain and river dipper. So we joined forces to snatch it back. I didn't expect Ningcheng to know that we were going to the Grand Essence realm. I don't know how he persuaded the many experts in the Grand Essence Realm to set up the Grand Essence Dao Court Army in the Grand Essence Realm. He even spent several years arranging the Grand Essence Realm's defensive array. Even if Ning Qing arranged the Grand Essence Realm's defensive array and had the Grand Essence Dao Court, it shouldn't be enough to wipe out the Luiying Dao Court's millions of troops, right? The one who spoke was Yunguang Dao Court's Lei Shiran. He had always been thinking about Jesse's Tai Invisible Dao Scroll, the Tai True Dao Scripture. Now that Jesse was killed, he naturally felt anxious about the Tai True Dao Scripture. Bao Beijiang gnashed his teeth and said, "This person is insidious and cunning." While arranging the Grand Essence Realm's defensive array, he also used a Xiantian artifact as the core of the array and arranged a super powerful hidden killing array. He lured us into the array core of the killing array and then closed the array. Then he mobilized millions of troops to besiege the Luiying Dao Court's army. I can't wait to kill my way to the Grand Essence Realm and avenge the souls of those who died in the Grand Essence Realm. Chu Bai, who sat opposite to Ao Beijiang, stared at Ao Beijiang coldly, surnamed Ao. No matter what you say, you won't be able to escape the crime of being the culprit behind the annihilation of my Luiying Dao Court's army. After saying that, he cupped his fists towards Yin Xingwen and said, "Realm Lord, if my Luiying Dao Court doesn't take Ao Beijiang away, it would be hard to quell the public's anger." Yin Xingwen sighed in his heart. He naturally didn't want Ao Beijiang to be taken away like this. However, he also needed to give Chu Bai an explanation. Therefore, he said, "I can fully understand Dao Friend Chu's feelings. Now that the Grand Essence Realm has destroyed millions of my Grand Essence Dao Court's army, the most important thing right now is to unite against the outside world. If we start fighting inside, it would only make our enemies happy." Chu Bai didn't speak anymore. He knew about the relationship between Ao Beijiang and Yin Xingwen. Wanting Yin Xingwen to support him in killing Ao Beijiang was almost impossible. If he wanted to kill Ao Beijiang, he could only do it secretly with his Luiying Dao Court. After Yin Xingwen comforted Chu Bai, he spoke again. "Everyone, the Luiying Dao Court is one of my Grand Essence Dao Court's 5 great Dao Courts. But because of the Grand Essence Dao Court's army, the Luiying Dao Court's vitality has been reduced by more than half. Everyone, let's talk about how we should deal with this matter." No one spoke. The 3 major sects and the 5 great Dao Courts didn't express their stance. The Luiying Dao Court wanted to kill their way back to the Grand Essence Realm. But after this war, their vitality had suffered too much damage. Cloudlight Dao Court's Dao Monarch Lei Shiran wanted to go to the Grand Essence Realm alone, kill Ning Cheng, and take back Ning Cheng's Grand Change True Dao Scripture. Yin Xingwen frowned slightly and spoke with an unhappy tone. This time, more than half of the Luiying Dao Court's army was killed. If it was the army of the other Dao Courts, what would happen? We all belong to the Grand Change Realm, and everyone is just sweeping the snow in front of their doors. Why don't we just abandon the 5 great Dao Courts and establish a Grand Change Dao Court? Yin Xingwen had the qualifications to say such words. After all, he was the Grand Change Realm's #1 expert. Lei Shiran stood up. "Realm Lord, my Cloudlight Dao Court is willing to send out the army. However, I have 2 conditions. First, Ning Cheng has a book that I need. I have to get it back. Second, if we destroy the Grand Essence Realm, my Cloudlight Dao Court will establish a new Dao Court in the Grand Change Realm." Yin Xingwen nodded. "That's not a problem at all." After saying that, he looked at the other 3 Dao Courts and the 3 major sections. As for the Luiying Dao Court, they had to participate. He didn't even need to ask. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.